Well, good afternoon from a very hot Cambridge. Outside it is already up to 30 degrees. Inside the velodrome here, it's way more warmer than that. We're probably about another 6 degrees plus. There's a lot going on in the Waikato. I know they're absolutely cooking outside at the Sevens, but in here, Madison, I think we need a bit of a party as well. I'd love to see some costumes.
I'll tell you what, it's the perfect location for it. We have the lights, we have the music, and everyone's ready for a good party tonight.
Well, the grass isn't even growing because on the way home at lunchtime today, I saw the sign, there's lawnmower racing. So, and rowing on out there. Rowing would be a great sport this time of year, wouldn't it? Eh? Nice and warm on the water.
Spectators all putting their feet in already, so it is all the action going on here in Cambridge this weekend.
Well, this morning it was mate against mate, region against region in the team sprint qualifying, the teams pursuit qualifying. We saw some really good rides, some riders not doing events they'd normally be comfortable with. What were the standout performances and riders?
Standout performance for me was the men's elite and under 19 team pursuit qualifying. We saw Southland go out very strong, but also so comfortable. Nick Kirkazoo sitting on the front for that team and pulling them all the way to the line. It'll be interesting to see if they can go faster than a 4:09 tonight.
I think they actually started the same team in the team sprint as well.
They did too. The team sprint, hot action there too. Canterbury under 19 men's team, Lip and Co. They are certainly going to be hard to beat tonight.
Yeah, Sebastian Lip in great form last night. 2 golds. The standout rider has probably been Lawrence Pithy. In the women's, Jenna Borthwick. Who else do you sort of see as a future World Championship rider, maybe Junior Worlds rider? Anyone knocking on the door?
Oh, they're all in good form. This is the selection event for the juniors. The likes of Prudence Fowler, and there's a number of men, the likes of Ryan McLeod, that are really challenging for those top spots. Great domestic competition means they've got to perform very well on the world stage.
Yeah, last night it was so hot in the velodrome. The racing was electric. If you missed the highlights, let's have a look at what happened on the track last evening. It's been a blistering hot day here in Cambridge for day 3 of the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under 19 Track Cycling Championships. Temperatures in the 30s outside, the very high 30s inside the velodrome. It was going to take its toll on spectators and riders. Sexton, mate, you're sweating. You look like you just come out of a shower. That must have been hard work.
Yeah, definitely. It's always hard out there, and especially the heat's affecting the championships at the moment. You know, it's always nice to have a bit of heat around New Zealand, but sometimes, you know, it gets a bit to you. You know, you build up a bit of sweat and you look like you've just come out of a shower.
Canterbury teenagers Lawrence Pithy and Jenna Borthwick have been the absolute standouts in the under 19 category, winning 4 gold medals each.
Ferguson title. Lawrence Pithy just working into his ride, travelling just over the 50 kilometre an hour mark right now.
So Jenna Borthwick, 4 starts, 4 gold medals. You must be absolutely delighted.
Yep, I've gone way better than I thought I could, and it's just awesome riding like that leading into Junior World selections. Yeah.
Canterbury sprinter Sebastian Lip backed up yesterday's Kieran performance by winning the under 19 men's sprint title, beating Tasman's Ko Lart in 2 straight rides.
He kicks away. Sebastian Lip is going to come into the home straight and take out the under 19 sprint title.
Tasman's Sean Fulton proved her win in the 500 metre time trial was no fluke by upsetting World Championship bound Elise Andrews in the Elite Women's Kieran final.
The top, Sean Fulton, Elise Andrews, they're going to come into the home straight. Elise Andrews, Sean Fulton, Fulton goes to the line, takes it.
Eddie Dawkins showed he is back on form, winning the Elite Men's Kieran with a brilliant display of power and speed.
Clear. Eddie Dawkins swings on the handlebars, gets the big gear going down the back straight. Eddie Dawkins, he's back, people. Look at him go in the 100. He's going to kick clear. Eddie Dawkins comes around to show he is back on track.
Former World Individual Pursuit champion Jordan Kirby was too good at the business end of the Elite Men's 15 kilometre scratch race, riding away for a solo win.
Jordan Kirby, he's with 100 to go, but they're coming at him at 2-1. Jordan Kirby's going to take out the Elite Men's scratch race. Jordan Kirby takes it.
Make sure you join us tomorrow for the final day of action at the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under 19 Track National Championships. Well, with me I've got 2 of the brains trusts of 2 of the regions that we're going to see battling it out on the track later on in the team sprint and teams pursuit competitions. On my left, Sid Cumming. On my right, Andrew Williams. Andrew, I'll come to you first. You coach Lawrence Pithy. He's won 4 gold medals here. He's one of the hottest properties in world cycling right now. How do you hold back his enthusiasm?
Lawrence is so super talented that he always keeps driving for more. We always try and just keep him a little bit grounded, always think forward and where his development's going to go. We're trying not to push him too far, so always holding something in reserve.
In Canterbury, you've got like almost the brains trust of New Zealand cycling. No, you know, apart from the man on my left here. You've got Terry Jide, Hayden Ralston, Hamish Ferguson and yourself. Like that is some power down there in coaching knowledge, and it's showing here at these championships.
Yeah, I think we feed off each other really well. There's a lot of knowledge going on there. We can bounce ideas off each other, which works really well as well. And I think you see that with the riders. We get some really good results out of them, and everyone's striving for their best.
Sid, I'm so impressed with Southland. Every year you come to these championships with the best team culture. I've just seen you all outside enjoying lunch under the trees. It's a fun pit. How do you create such a great vibe?
Fun. It's all about the fun, Dale. What you do is we want to ride our bikes, we want to go fast, we want to have fun. And so big thing is enjoyment and fun. We pick a team on that, and we pick the parents and our helpers off that. So everyone gets on and everyone's there. All our helpers, from manager right through to myself. One job, keep those athletes happy.
Well, they are happy. Kirsty James said the other night, it's like being in a hotel coming back into your camp. Absolutely loves coming out of the high performance environment, but you've got a lot of high performance athletes that slot back in, haven't you?
Yeah, that's difficult for us because we have 9 of our team are actually in Cambridge. So, and I think they actually get a better buzz coming out of that high performance environment back into our pit and actually just being able to loosen up a little bit and actually enjoy their cycling. Not that they don't enjoy it when they're doing the HP stuff, but when there's something on the line and that big stuff, you know, and there is a little bit for national champs, but actually what actually happens is that they're in there, they're watching the kids having fun, they actually start enjoying it. The kids actually, oh, gee, these guys are in our pit, they get the buzz out of it as well, and it's just one of those things that just keeps snowballing along. Yeah.
Well, this afternoon, guys, we've got Canterbury, Southland. You're going to be going head-to-head on the track in some events. What's your target?
Have fun.
Have fun? Andrew?
We just want to go out there and give our best, Del.
Yep. Well, there's going to be plenty of action on the track this afternoon. I tell you what, we've got team sprints, teams pursuits, and the Madison. So stay tuned right here on Sky Sport next.
So we are now ready to get underway here at the Vantage Elite and Under-19 Track National Championships, the last session of this National Champs. And as we look ahead towards the program, we have a number of finals and a number of medals online this afternoon. And mostly in the teams events, we've had the qualifying this morning where the different regions have ranked against each other. And this afternoon, it is riding off for the gold medal and the bronze medal between these different teams. First up on the track, we're going to have the women's elite and under-19 4,000 metre team pursuit final, followed by the men's elite and under-19 4,000 metre team pursuit final. Then we move our way into the team sprint finals And finally, finish off this afternoon with the Madison, which is going to be an absolute ripper of a race. And first up on the track, we have the ride-off for the bronze medal in the women elite and under 19 4,000 metre team pursuit. In the front straight, representing Waikato, we have Maya Anderson, Holly Bliss, Maddie Douglas and Prudence Fowler. In the back straight, representing Canterbury, we had Jenna Borthwick, Erin Downey, Michaela Grant and Charlotte Spurway.
The ride for the bronze medal. Both centres, we've just talked to one of the Canterbury coaches, Andrew Williams. Of course, he runs the Velo Project women's cycling team down there in Canterbury. Very good team. Got a lot of invites, international races, particularly through Asia. Elise Fraser, the team leader. Nice to see her here as well. So they're underway. Both teams away safely in this team's pursuit competition. You can see, always see the rider starts fourth wheel, a little bit higher on the track. They have to get up to speed. They get a little bit nervous going into those bankings. What's important in the team's pursuit? Well, you've got to finish with 3 riders. That's the main thing. The time is taken on the 3rd rider across the line. The tactic we saw earlier today, and I'll get asked Paige to explain maybe why we're seeing teams drop a rider quite early in the team's pursuit competition. Sometimes just after the first kilometre that a rider drops off. It can be a risky tactic because if something goes pear-shaped, you don't have the 3rd rider on the track. If they puncture or tip a wheel and come down, of course, you can't finish the event. So a number of teams used that in this morning. Maybe they were saving a rider. Paige, what are your thoughts on this dropping of a rider sometimes as early as the first kilometre?
Yeah, I think that it's, you don't want to be doing it too early on in the race, that's for sure, because it becomes essentially 3 versus 4 and an extra set of legs, and the train certainly does help a lot. However, we see numerous teams doing it, but later on in the race. So the likes of Nick Kirkazoo, who we have seen out there earlier today, he does that job, that exact job for the men's elite team. And it does have its pros and cons. It means that rider can start out, get the train up to full speed, and then they've done their job essentially. However, it means that they've got one less ride in those last few laps, maybe where they need it. So depends what sort of hurt you put in at the start of the race and finish off with 2.
Well, we're seeing both these teams on track. Canterbury looking very tidy right now. Charlotte Spurway sits on the 3rd wheel. Just in front of her, Jenna Borthwick, the lady that's dominated under 19 women's racing here at these Vantage Windows and Door National Championships. She's coming into view with 4 individual gold medals. Now trying to anchor her team to a bronze medal in this team's pursuit final. Up against a well-performed, also looking very good on the track, Waikato.
Nothing between the 2 teams at the time being. It's very close out there. And so we can see the Waikato team, they're starting to struggle a little bit because Canterbury's ahead. Canterbury actually qualified behind the Waikato team. But Canterbury certainly come back out strong tonight. We know the quality of Jenna Borthwick and the contemporary team. She's already come away with 4 golds this championship. But if you have a look also at that Waikato Bay of Plenty team, tell you what, they've had very good qualifying this morning. And let's just see what happens in the last stages of this race. They're not far away now, 3 laps from the end.
Well, this is where it really starts to hurt a little bit, and nothing at all between the 2 teams as they go through. Canterbury just with the advantage. Tim Carswell running down the front straight. Just wants to give his team an idea of where they're sitting on the track, where they're lying. Wants to get a little bit more effort out of them. Canterbury drop a rider. That'll be a planned move. So Waikato starting to fight back a little bit. Canterbury still in control at the moment. There's not a lot in this team's pursuit. Canterbury, 3 riders, Waikato with 4. We're inside the last few laps, as Paige mentioned. What sort of time are they going to produce? That doesn't really matter. They just want that bronze medal. Waikato looking good at the moment. They're strong, but they've got a lot of work to do in the last bit to catch up with Canterbury. Canterbury with the advantage, 3:43, they go through, 1.7 seconds is the gap, 1.7, I don't know if they'll pull it back, Paige.
It's going to be very, very hard for them to pull it back, but it's 3 versus 3 now, so it's, they're going to leave absolutely everything out there on the track. Canterbury's looking stronger and stronger throughout this race. They're still together as a team. Same with the Waikato team, in fact. So if these riders are obviously of similar abilities to each other, and the Canterbury team starting to stretch out a little bit on the track now.
Yeah, well, they did a good thing, that change. Michaela Grant was just swinging a little bit. There she goes in the middle. So Jenna Borthwick sitting behind her, just encouraging her. They'll come around, they'll get the bell lap down the back straight. Of course, Waikato was slightly faster in the qualifying start and in the front straight. But Canterbury, they'll put it together in the final, as they do so often. We talked about the brains trust of coaches. Well, they get together and they figure out a plan. The plan was a good one. So Canterbury into the back straight, looking very good. They're going to go across the line, take the bronze medal with a very good 4:43.708. Well, Canterbury, the first one of the afternoon, Paige, and that was a very slick performance.
Yes, and this is the elite and under-19 team pursuit finals. So this full under-19 team has taken the bronze medal, and it just shows the quality of these riders. And so just confirmation of the results. Time of 4:43 for the Canterbury team. And look at that average speed, 50.756 kilometres per hour over 4,000 metres.
Well, it was great catching up with two of the coaches when we come into the program. Sid Cummings talking about the importance of making it fun and having a really fun environment and seeing them out on the lawn. I don't know if you saw them, Paige, outside under the big tree, having lunch, having a fantastic time as a team. Everybody there, from the high performance riders to the riders that are at their very first elite nationals. And that's so important to keep the kids involved in sport, is to have it fun.
Yeah, it is. You're not wrong there, Dal. And as soon as it starts getting a little bit too serious, it can take the fun out of it. So it is important, actually, at all levels, even right through to elite. You know, some of those, multiple world champions, the likes of Christina Vogel and stuff, they're always smiling, always having fun, always waving to the crowd. And it's not all about being serious at the top level.
Well, you mentioned Christina Vogel, and unfortunately, after a big accident, Christina is now a para-athlete. But you've had that experience on the track as well, Paige, going full gas and a rider coming out or coming onto the track in front of you and hitting them. It's not nice. You've got to weigh a little bit better than Christina, but you know, the risks are so high in cycling.
Yeah, I had exactly the same crash actually as Christina Vogel, and I was very lucky to come off a lot less worse than she was, but she has got such a fantastic outlook on life and has really just grasped this new challenge with 2 hands. So we now turn our attention to the ride-off for gold in the front straight, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty. Ellie Walston, Jamie Nielsen, Jessie Hodges and Nina Walston. And in the back straight, representing Southland, Riley McMullen, Emily Patterson, Nicole Shields and Nicole Marshall.
Well, this time Southland, the slower in qualifying, but in qualifying, a lot of the teams, a lot of the coaches, they've been around a long time. They keep things fairly close to their chest. If they, depending on where they're seated in the qualifying round, if you're one of the later teams or if you're in the last two, you just have to go fast enough to make the final, to make the gold medal final. So I wonder if any of these teams have held a little bit back.
Yeah, hard to know. I think those both teams actually went out there in the qualifying this morning just to see what kind of a time they can do and just to test out the legs and maybe adapt what they may end up riding tonight. Most athletes have almost fully recovered from this morning, and you will find they do end up riding faster in the afternoon session, almost opening up the legs. And we can see the Southland rider there on the front. I think it's Nicole Marshall. She is using the classic drop bars compared with the aerodynamic bars of the other athletes.
Yeah, Nicole, a very good sprinter, so they're using her up like she was riding a 500 metre, although she's asking her to do a bit more than 500. So she'll pull up, that's her job done for the team to get them going, and leave it to the other 3 riders to try and pick up the pace and take on this very powerful Waikato Bay of Plenty team. Riley McMullen sits in the middle. So Riley McMullen, Emily Patterson, Nicole Shields, but here come Waikato, and they are on a little bit of a mission right now, down to 3 as well. Also dropping a rider quite early in the race.
And they already have them in their sights. If the Waikato Bay of Plenty team does catch the Southland team, it is race over, and they were 11 seconds ahead in qualifying, and they well and truly have them in their sights here, so it could be a very short race.
Yeah, they may have arranged to go on and ride a time. It'll just be interesting to see if they've asked and arranged that. Of course, the gun will fire either way, but sometimes a team will keep going. You can just see the Southland team going down the back, about to be passed. It's a very good performance from Waikato Bay of Plenty. So they're going to pick up the Southland team as they come down the home straight. The whistle goes just to warn the riders, and they've caught them at the 2,000 metre mark.
It looks like the Waikato Bay of Plenty are going to continue on here and try and post a good time. They have trained for this, so it's never nice if you then have to stop the race early. So they're going out there, they're in a big training block, many of these girls heading off to the Worlds later this month, so they want to put a good effort on out there on the track.
Well, they'll have 7 on the board when they come around, or 7 on the back straight. There'll be less on the front straight. This Waikato team, well drilled.
So slightly different tactic to this morning. Ellie Walston still there in the mix this afternoon, leading the team away. Also there, Jamie Nielsen and Jessie Hodges. And Nielsen recently come back from a bit of time off the bike. She had a baby and is now in some absolutely scintillating form, leading into the World Champs and on to Tokyo.
Yeah, she's come back into the sport so well, and it's great to see she's an important part. Also the experience she's got from racing the Olympic Games. When you go into the Olympic environment, it's so much different. You go to the World Championships, you go to other big World Cups, other major events, but there's nothing like the pressure of the Olympics. You're inside the village, there's thousands of athletes, the whole world's media is on you. So the pressure cooker situation, a lot of riders and a lot of athletes I've spoken to talk about their first Olympics as nothing like they expected, and they don't perform to what they wanted to because of everything that was going on around them. So when you can bring in a rider like Jamie Nelson to just calm the younger riders, those that may not have been to the Olympics, so valuable.
Yeah, so the two Walston sisters out there with Jamie Nielsen, and these riders are putting in a very good effort here, and all eyes in the velodrome are on the riders out on the track. And if anything, those young riders watching will want to take serious note of their technical ability. So they drive all the way to the line now. Take a look at the clock, 4:21.121. So a great time from these girls and a great effort to take out the gold medal in the Women Elite and Under 19 4,000 metre team pursuit.
Right, okay.
So now that is the Women's Elite team pursuit. It's complete, Women Elite and Under 19, and we now will have the Men's Elite and Under 19 team pursuiters up on the track.
But worried about Paige up here in the commentary. She's brought in a set of gloves. It's not gloves weather, Paige. Or are they the ones that Luke Mudgeway won on your social media post around who is going to get the Kieran gloves?
Yeah, there was, I tell you what, there was a few boys that were pretty keen on a set of pink gloves, but in the end decided to give it to a very worthy young girl. So it's always good to be able to hand these down to other people who are going to use them.
So starting in the front straight, Waikato Bay of Plenty Under 19 men's team, fastest qualifiers from this heat over Canterbury Black are in the back straight. Pierce Gatley, Lucas Murphy, Zach Patterson, Ruben Webster, so a very strong team. Up against Ollie Jones, Griffin Spencer, Matthew Owensworth, Joshua Van Hennigan. So Canterbury, they did the business in the last one from the back straight. They're pretty crafty down there. They always have a little bit, hold a little bit back. So the ride of the Waikato Bay of Plenty team in the last ride set a new New Zealand Championship record. So congratulations.
And so underway now in the ride-off for bronze. You can see the Waikato Bay of Plenty team will go head-to-head with the Canterbury Black team.
So the old time that the Waikato Bay of Plenty team went past was 4:25. They rode a 4:21, so a fantastic performance. Jamie Nielsen in both teams, as long with Ronnie Botha. So they are going a little bit better than they were in 2017. And on that occasion, they rode with Raquel Sheath and Rushley Buchanan. Well, it's always great to see riders in the national championships doing personal bests and record times. That's what it's about in the team's pursuit. I tell you, I'm going to catch up with Alex later in the program, one of the coaches here in the High Performance Cycling New Zealand program. She looks after the women's endurance, so we'll be able to talk to her about that record ride. So Canterbury, Waikato, early stages, Paige, both teams are looking pretty comfortable and very close.
Yeah, only 2 seconds between these two teams this morning, so very close in their qualifying ride, and there's going to be nothing between them this afternoon. We've already seen a bit of an upset earlier in the program, the women's ride off for bronze. So the qualifying this morning was the first step, but now it's all about putting absolutely everything out there because there is a medal on the line.
0.13 Waikato with that slender advantage. Of course, they won't be too excited about that right now. It's a long way, the 4,000 metre team's pursuit. So Waikato 0.44 in front. That's 0.44. So the young man is Ruben Webster, bronze medalist in the individual pursuit, leading the Waikato team as they come down into the home straight. Canterbury go down the back straight. Andrew Williams just looks at the stopwatch and goes, yep, we're going okay. Don't panic, boys. Not worried about where we're lying on the track at the moment.
Yes, you can see the coaches on the infield and they are putting the times up for these boys so they have an idea as to each lap how fast they're travelling around the track. They will have gone out there with a schedule they want to keep to at least for the first couple of kilometres, and then the last 2 kilometres often they race the other team on the other side. So try and control at first and then race, and as well and truly a race now. It is just 0.18. The Waikato Bay of Plenty team is behind.
So they went through the halfway stage, 2:12. Canterbury just starting to turn up the heat a little bit. Can the Waikato team respond? They are. They still got the slight advantage. Waikato Bay of Plenty. They got the home crowd behind them. Oh, there you go. That's the strong man of the team. He's tipped the wheel and come down. Ruben Webster. Well, that's the danger in teams pursuing. You've got to get it right. We've talked about it. So Canterbury carry on. Ruben Webster tipped the wheel. Pierce Gatley's got a little bit of work to do. Closes the gap. He gets up there. It's a good ride from Pierce to pull it back. Canterbury down the back straight now with the clear advantage. Waikato, though, still trying to hang in there with their 3 riders.
So still very close, but all of a sudden the Canterbury team have an extra rider out there on the track, an extra set of legs. So they're starting to fall behind now, the Waikato Bay of Plenty, 1.1 second behind the Canterbury Black team. And it's very close racing.
Well, Ruben Webster, he's probably just had a bit of a bangy on the aero bars, the way you come down, the aerodynamic helmet's on. You just give yourself a bit of a knock and a bump, often wind yourself when you fall like that. So Canterbury in control, they're really digging it in right now as they chase this bronze medal. So Canterbury through into the bell lap. Waikato are fighting hard. Zach Patterson's putting in a big ride on the front, trying to pull his team up into it, but Canterbury in full control. It's been a brave ride by the Waikato under-19 men's team. They're certainly in this until they had their little mishap. Canterbury go down the back. They've done it again from the back straight. It's a 4:16.176 and a very good 4:18.076 for the Waikato under-19 men's. They can be proud of that ride.
A very gutsy performance, finishing off very strongly with 3 riders. They didn't give up and they gave it absolutely everything right to the end of the race, losing Ruben Webster. And that's the reality of team pursuing. you're riding so close and it's a matter of millimetres rather than inches or metres between these riders' wheels. And Webster ended up just overlapping the wheel and coming down off the track. And for those that are tuning in on Sky Sport Next and are new to the sport, sadly when you do crash on the velodrome, you do burn your skin on the wood. Often you end up with the odd splinter as well. But hopefully Ruben Webster's okay and there's no broken bones.
He'll be a little bit sore. Mind you, we saw Corbin Strong bounce back pretty good and he was out training this morning, so hopefully Ruben will be much the same. At 56 odd kilometres an hour, you don't have a lot to play with. You make an error and there's no recovery. So we just look at Dale Ertle over there, leaning on the start gate. Top veteran sprinter. He'll be at the age groups, no doubt, chasing a national title.
Also fantastic at organising and running the J-Swap Carnival here in Cambridge for the Masters riders. And we do have a number of Masters riders throughout New Zealand that are competitive and do turn up to the Masters World Championships every year.
Well, the J-Swap Carnival is one of the highlights of the track cycling program, organised, as you say, by Dale. Did a great job to get it off the ground, and great support from J-Swap, of course a local company getting behind Masters cycling. And of course also coming up for the Masters is the Australasian Masters Championships on the road down there in the Wairarapa. I think it's only about a week or so before the age group club road nationals in the Hawke's Bay. So that'll be a great event as well.
Also in a couple of weeks we have the Ride Festival. The Ride Festival is a celebration of cycling held in and around Cambridge from 13th to the 16th of February. There's something for everyone. You can participate in the Grand and Quarto Fondo events on the Saturday and even watch the Elite Road Championships on the Sunday. Check out the Party in the Park at the Village Green with an outdoor movie night, and there's activities and food trucks for the whole family. So if you're interested in this Ride Festival, make sure you head along to ridenz.bike for all the details.
This weekend, it's been a big weekend of cycling with the Vantage Windows and Doors National Road Championships, track championships here in Cambridge. Of course, the Road Championships in a few weeks' time. Also, the Gravel and Tar, well done to Steve Stannard and his wonderful team down there. Just confirming the results on the screen, the 4:16, 1:76 to Canterbury. Yeah, Gravel and Tar, well done to Hayden McCormick from the Black Spoke Pro Cycling Academy, taking a solo win in that event. Very good, great performance. I think his teammate, Luke Mudgway, was second.
It's interesting as those times flashed up on the board before, 4:16 and a 4:18. And if we compare that to this morning, we had a 4:22 from the Canterbury Black team, so they've actually gone a whole 6 seconds faster this afternoon. And the Waikato Bay Plenty also going another 2 seconds faster than they did this morning. So you mentioned it in the intro, Del, it is hot in here.
Yeah, it's hot. The track's running nice and fast, and the boards get a little bit tighter when the heat gets into them. There is heating, of course, under international velodromes to warm up the surface if it is cold. There's Ruben. Looks like he might have a bit of a sore collarbone, but he'll recover. Just strapped up, come down, hit the shoulder. But he'll bounce back. The cyclists are a tough bunch. Ko Lart on the rollers, the headphones on. Picked up the silver medal in the individual sprint.
Yeah, part of the composite team sprint team that we will see later on.
There's Ruben. It's great. The medic team on site all the time throughout the championships. They haven't had too much to do, fortunately. Down in Dunedin, we've got the National and Oceania Mountain Bike Championships on, and the highlights for those will be up next week on Sky Sport Next. And I tell you, don't miss it, the downhill, the cross country, and Don Cooper taking his 5th Oceania title. I know Sam Lingstott was in good form as well, so we'll just see. Can't wait to see the highlights from Dunedin. Emersonsbury right behind the Eltham New Zealand Mountain Bike Championships and the Oceania Championships down there in Dunedin at Signal Hill. And all the highlights will be coming up on Sky Sport Next in the next 7 to 10 days. Along with all the highlights from the Vantage Windows and Doors National Track Cycling Championships, you can look at each day's highlights. 2 minutes highlights from day 1, 2 and 3 are already up online. We'll have tomorrow's done, or today's done, and it'll be up tomorrow. And then we'll have a 10 minutes highlight package coming out as well that will cover all 4 days.
And for those that
well, the track, they've just checked it out. They've made sure everything's okay after the fall. They don't want any splinters exposed. A little bit of tape goes on. The pads are straightened up. If you've just joined in and you're wondering why the pads, or you've popped into the venue, why the pads are on the track, we mentioned that throughout all the individual events. This is the same for the team events. The shortcut is on the blue around the track. And those little pads here, we can say the commissaires, they are referees. They're called commissaires in cycling. And the chief comm is Erin Crickington, herself a Masters World Champion. Bernie Richmond, of course, here helping out as a commissaire. Waikato team manager Ray Sheath, just he'll be a little bit concerned about Ruben Webster, just be checking things out. And the bikes getting put into the starting gates. Plenty of support for Southland in the stands right throughout the Vantage Windows and Doors National Track Championships. I think they've made the most noise, so they get the Sevens prize. We just want, and that prize is you must dress up at the next National Championships and come in some costumes.
Yep, we'll have the disco lights and music ready to go. Certainly the venue for it.
They'll do it. Southland will do it. Siddle make sure. So Canterbury in the back straight. Can they make it 3 from 3 in the back straight in this individual pursuit? Ride for the gold medal.
Just having a bit of a look at the qualifying times from this morning. Only 2 seconds in it. Southland qualifying in a 4:09 and Canterbury qualifying in a 4:11.
So Canterbury lining up. Kirkazoo is the starter. We'll see how many laps he does. I might get Page's job of counting that. I wouldn't be able to count that high. He'll do a lot of laps. On the front, Tom Sexton. And there we saw Tom. We caught up with him at the top of the show in the highlights package. I tell you, he got off his bike last night. He could have just walked out of the shower. He was dripping. Look at the effort going in from Nick Kirkazoo to get this elite and under-19 men's 4,000 metre teams pursuit underway. Of course, he won the kilometre with a time of 1 minute. 0:06 or 6060, something like that. It was very close to 60 kilometres an hour from a standing start, just a point fraction. And he has got a massive gear on as well. Down the back straight he goes. He was telling me in the break earlier, he's in the World Championship team, the reserve for the team's pursuit, and he'll focus on the kilo, he hopes, and the scratch race. Tom Sexton, the only rider, well, not the only rider, he won an individual medal in the scratch race, the World Championships. He is not travelling over to Berlin. So there's Nick on the front. That's a good couple of laps. Great to see the young man, Connor Shearing, in this team as well.
And at quite a different tactic there. We saw Nick Kirkazoo as he swung down onto the back of the train. He actually slotted in on 3rd position rather than slotting in right at the back. So obviously a different tactic going on out there for the Southland team.
Well, they're up against a rockstar Canterbury team, aren't they? With Hugo Jones, Joshua Scott, 2 riders who regularly compete on the 6-day circuit. Ryan McLeod and Lawrence Pithy. We talked about them, Page, at the top of the show. And Lawrence Pithy, his coach Andrew, calling the Canterbury team, saying just how they have to control him and make sure he doesn't cook himself with all the races he rides.
Yeah, they've gone out guns blazing, the Canterbury team. It'll be interesting to see. They are all very young, so can they hold on for that extra kilometre as they moved up from the under-19s to the elite?
So elite under-19 riders in teams pursuit these days, there's not always a lot between them, although when you step up to the World Championship pace that Nick's used to riding at, it's a 350 pace. We won't see 350 today. We saw 409 in qualifying. Canterbury, they are looking good. They might make it 3 from the back straight. Remember, if you start in the back, you weren't the fastest qualifier. The fastest qualifier started in the home straight. So Southland, what can Nick Kirkazoo do? Can he pull them back? His legs must be tired after a massive 4 days of racing.
It's only 6 laps to go now for the Canterbury team, and I tell you what, they're looking very good out there, and they're young and they are absolutely flying. So they've only got just over a kilometre left to go, and they are looking really good and almost have Southland in their sights now.
Well, Josh Scott goes from strength to strength. He's stuck at it for a long time now. He was a very good under-19 rider, same with Hugo Jones, and they are really coming into their own as top elite athletes, and they will be starting to push for a place in the next contingent of elite men. We'll focus on the Paris Games, and they were 2 names you'd be writing down. Also the young man on the front, Ryan McLeod. That guy has got an engine as well. Rode a personal best in the individual pursuit, claiming a silver medal behind Lawrence Pithy. So Ryan McLeod, it's a great turn from McLeod. Southland now down to 3. Canterbury in control, so Southland now will really turn up the heat. Nick Kirkazoo's really putting the pressure on, but the man on wheel 2 starting to suffer, and I'm not surprised. So he swings up. Tom Sexton goes up onto Kirkazoo. They don't want Canterbury. Canterbury are coming after them. Down to 3 now, but that's a planned move because Ryan McLeod did such a big turn on the front. Put Canterbury into a really strong position. Southland, well, they had a plan. They just haven't been able to quite pull it off. Canterbury again from the back straight. Get the bell. Southland looking around. They just want to see where Canterbury, where they are. So they come down. Canterbury once again. They're going to take it from the back straight. There's the Canterbury men's team. Take the gold. Look at the time. That is an outstanding ride by the Canterbury Red team. 4:01.506. 4:01. What a ride by the Canterbury team. The championship record for Canterbury.
4:01.409, so just 0.1 of a second outside the New Zealand record.
Yeah, New Zealand championship record, a record that was set. Well, that might have been the under-19 only record. But of course, it's under-19. It depends if it's under-19 and 4,000. The under-19 team on their own was Chad Gear, Josh Atkinson's, Michael Vink, so that would be just an under-19 record, but going very close to the championship record. The Canterbury Red team, wow, what a ride by them. A 4:01 at the end of a big block of racing. Just to give you an idea, the New Zealand Senior Championship record, so it gets a little bit confusing. It can confuse us up here. So there are senior teams only and there are mixed teams. So this is a mixed team. And we're going to head down to the medal presentations shortly.
And what a finals we have had so far. The team's pursuit, both the women and the men, elite and under 19, and these riders competing for their regions and wanting to do their regions proud. A very strong contingent here from Waikato Bay of Plenty. It's a hometown advantage for those riders, as well as from the Southland region, and also Canterbury, always strong, those two regions, also with great velodromes. And next up, we are going to head our way into the awards ceremony for those two team pursuit finals. And later on this evening, we're going to move our way into the team sprint finals and then the Madisons. So a very exciting afternoon up ahead.
So ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2020 Vantage Elite and Under 19 National Track Championships Teams Pursuit will now take place. The medals will be presented by Mr. Bruce Goldsworthy, a life member of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track. And in third place, winners of the bronze medal, it's the Canterbury team. Of course, a lot of medals for Bruce to hand out. Bruce Goldsworthy himself, a very fine rider, manager of the New Zealand team, the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich. Of course, where Bruce Biddle, third in that road race, finished fourth, but of course the disqualification from the Spanish rider was third. In second place, and winner of the silver medal, it is Southland Gold. In first place, and winners of the gold medal, the 2020 Elite and Under 19 Teams Pursuits National Champion, Waikato Bay of Plenty Black. And of course, in a new championship, a record time. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for the medal winners and your champion team, Waikato Bay of Plenty. Ali and Nina Wollaston, two sisters, gold medal. When was the last time you rode together?
In a team pursuit, we actually have never ridden together, so yeah, first time.
What a highlight, and it must be great for you competing as an individual in these championships, of course, such an important part of New Zealand's paracycling program.
Yeah, it's something a bit different, but a new challenge, so it's quite cool. Yeah, enjoying it.
That was a really fast ride out there, 4:20, 4:21?
Yeah. It's the first time I've done a team pursuit in, I think, 3 years, so yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and with Ellie, it was something pretty special.
Didn't look like it was 3 years, did it, Ellie? She just looked like, you know, she'd been ridden one yesterday.
Yeah, she was cruising, mate.
Well, congratulations. Fantastic to have two sisters in the winning team, and well done on the record.
Cool,
Congratulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next presentation is for the elite and under-19 men's teams pursuit. Once again, a life member of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track, Mr. Bruce Goldsworthy, will present the medals. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, Canterbury Black. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, Southland Gold. Great experience for the young riders, riding with some of the more senior members of their teams. In first place, and winners of the gold medal, your 2020 men's elite and under-19 teams pursuit national champions, Canterbury Red. So Canterbury also receiving the A.W. Gooder Trophy. Yes, a very old trophy in the sport, and a lot of great teams and riders' names on that trophy. I'll ask Bruce to stay up there because we're going to present the Jim Guest Memorial Trophy to the Waikato Bay of Plenty under-19 men's team. The Waikato Bay of Plenty under-19 men's received this trophy. Finished fourth in the competition, but all members of the team were under-19. So that's why they're awarded the Jim Guest Memorial Trophy. I'll get Bruce to stay up there because there's also the Lynn Murphy Trophy to present Lynn, one of the country's top female coaches. And the trophy for the Lynn Murphy, the winners of the Lynn Murphy Trophy for first place in the under-19 teams pursuit competition, Canterbury. So we've also got the 2019 Rider of the Year trophies to be presented to the athletes that are here. Those trophies will be awarded or presented by Mr. Bruce Goldsworthy also. So remember, this is for the Cycling New Zealand Rider of the Year Awards. The 2019 Junior Male Track Rider of the Year, World Omnium and Madison Champion, Lawrence Pithy. Lawrence will stay up there. We will call up all the award riders, the riders that have received the very prestigious Rider of the Year awards. The 2019 Female Track Rider of the Year, World Champion in the individual pursuit, silver medal in the team's pursuit, Ellie Wollaston. So while Ellie gets the photos, unfortunately, 2019 Male Track Rider of the Year, World Champion in the Omnium, Campbell Stewart. Believe it or not, he's out training. He's got a World Championships to get ready for. The 2019 Female, is that, they haven't written, what's that? Female Rider of the Year, Kirsty James. World Individual Pursuit, 4th place. So Kirsty also, the way she is riding, the form she is in, we might see her standing up there next year as World Champion. And the 2019 Track Team of the Year is the Women's Teams Pursuit. Michaela Drummond, Bronnie Botha, Holly Edmondson, Kirsty James, Rushley Buchanan. The team claimed the bronze medal at the World Championships. And of course, also a number of medals, including gold at the World Cup. And our final Rider of the Year awards is for the 2019 Emerging Talent Track Riders of the Year. This is decided on how riders have transitioned from the under-19s into the elite category or the senior category. It's been jointly presented to two outstanding young riders, Corbin Strong and Ellie Wollaston. Write those names down in your book. You'll be reading hearing and watching them for many years to come. Two of the biggest talents on the world cycling stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Williston and Corbin Strong. So that concludes this round of presentations. We will be heading back up to Paige and commentary.
And so now we look forward to the team sprint finals. We will kick off with the under-19s and finish off the team sprints with the elite women and men. And we can see the riders on the infield warming up. And there's a couple of different methods of warming up, as we can see there. Some on the rollers on the bottom side of the screen, and up the top we see another rider on the wind trainer or the erg. And there's a couple of different methods and how they go about it. And you can see the teammates there of Ruben Webster, making sure that he's going to be okay after his bit of a tumble in the team pursuit. And great support for their teammate. It's not easy coming down. You certainly find out you have a whole bunch of bumps and bruises that you didn't have the day before. And we will see a number of those team pursuit riders that have just picked up medals on the podium. They'll be warming up as well, ready for the team sprint. Southland team in particular, that's a back-to-back team. They are doing both the team pursuit and the team sprint. So great effort from those athletes backing it up. And it's exciting, the team sprint, slightly different race to the team pursuit. First things first, it's a lot shorter. For the women it is 2 laps, and for the men it is 3 laps of the track. And we'll come back shortly with more action. And so now the first team comes up on the track. We will have the women's under-19 team sprint finals first up. And lining up on the front straight, we have Jennifer Brown and Tyler Green. They qualified ahead of the Canterbury Black team, who is Erin Downey and Harriet Rouse. And so these two teams are racing off for the bronze medal, under-19 women's grade. And slightly different, this type of racing compared to the team pursuit. Takes a lot of speed and power. Compared to the team pursuit, more endurance and power. And so cleanly off the line, that start is so important in this team sprint. It's such a short, sharp race that you need to absolutely execute that start to perfection. And we can see here the two Southland riders getting away very well, one behind each other, and that means that the second rider is able to get a very good draft off the first rider. So the second rider now coming in to start their lap. They come underneath. The first rider's job's done. They can shut it down for the day, but second rider's job is just getting started. Only half a lap now remaining for these riders. They're going to drive right to the line. It's very close. Is it going to be Southland? Is it going to be Canterbury? They drive to the line. Southland will take it. And the end by just 0.39 of a second. Very close. Southland will take the bronze medal. And it's the team of Tyler Green and Jennifer Brown. Third place in the under-19 women's team sprint finals. See their confirmation of the results from a standing start, and the speed of the Southlanders 46.925 kilometres per hour. So they started at a standstill out of the gates, and so important those gate starts. And you can see here the gate rolling up onto the track, and the riders' bikes will be locked into the gate. And it's all about timing. As you hear that countdown, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's making sure you accelerate forwards at the same time as the gate letting you go. Bit of a hometown advantage for the Waikato Bay of Plenty riders we'll see coming up onto the track now, because they are used to this gate. They know exactly to the millisecond when it's going to let them go, and they will have memorised that overnight make sure that they get every single second out that they can. A bit of a swap of bikes by the looks of things. Let's make sure that the riders have the right bikes they're riding, and can see the different height of these two riders and geometry makeup. It wouldn't be much fun riding the wrong bike. So in the front straight, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, leading it out we have Prudence Fowler, and on the outside we have Maya Anderson, and the back straight representing Canterbury, we have Jenna Borthwick and Michaela Grant. We saw in the qualifying Jenna Borthwick leading out Michaela Grant. Grant not quite able to get into the slipstream, so see if she's brought her A game to the finals tonight.
While we wait for the starting countdown, the Waikato riders, Maya Anderson, Prudence Fowler, up against Jenna Borthwick, Michaela Grant in the back straight. Seems to be Canterbury's favourite spot, causing upsets from the back straight. Jenna Borthwick, 4 individual gold medals in these championships. Would dearly love to take the team gold as well. They both snap out of the blocks nicely. Better start from Michaela Grant, this time onto the slipstream if she can hold the wind-up of Jenna Borthwick. Waikato looking very good also. So Jenna Borthwick comes down the front straight. Those blue shoes, Waikato down the back straight into the turn 3 and 4. So the two lead-off riders, this is a very important time now. They go Jenna Borthwick, they go through the line, nothing at all between them. Canterbury just with the advantage, but it's going to come down to the last riders, the last two. Michaela Grant fighting hard. Oh, it's really, really tight in the team sprint. That's what we expect. Who's going to get it when they come down the line? Who's going to hang on? Waikato take it. Very good ride by the Waikato team. Both teams, the 37.346. 0.9 between them. So it doesn't get much closer. Good riding from the Waikato team. Well done, taking the gold medal. Maya Anderson, Prudence Fowler. Jenna Borthwick, well, at least she'll have another colour medal to take home and match her 4 golds. Great ride by the young Canterbury pairing, Jenna Borthwick, Michaela Grant. So next up, as we get a close-up look at the gate, and if you've just tuned in, you don't really know how the starting gate works. There's a little brake down on the bottom. It runs off a hydraulic. There's a button at the top. You push it when the wheel is set. That clamps the back wheel in tight. Then the little arm comes out, and it sits under the seat or onto the frame to hold the bike stable, so it can't tilt one way or the other. You can't get out of the gates until the clock goes 0. So in the countdown, you'll see riders counting, and they think 1, and they get ready to go. There's the little brake. Now, great shot of the little hydraulic brake, and it clamps really hard on the wheel. Now, Paige, you've been in those starting gates a few times. If you go a little bit early, it just won't release, will it?
No, it's not nice. It hampers your momentum as you're looking to drive through your hips through it to the front of the bike, and then all of a sudden the gate doesn't let you go. You kind of have to go back and almost start again. So it's not easy, and you can see here that we haven't had anyone actually mistime it too badly, but it does happen at the elite level, and I tell you what, there's some serious aggression and acceleration as these riders do pop out of the gates at the top level, and if you don't quite time it, it does actually hamper your time by about 0.2, 0.3 of a second. So it's not pretty, but those elite riders, they do practice day in, day out in these gates. They know them very well, but it is, as I said, there's a bit of a hometown advantage in knowing the specific gate, and they're not all the same manufacturer. Over time, you start to learn different gates around the world.
So when the big boys are on the track, like Sir Robert Fosterman and stuff, who've got legs like tree trunks, if he goes a little bit early, that's why we have the heavyweights standing on the gates. Dale Ertle on the back straight, Alistair on the front straight. They've got to try and hold the gate on the track if someone goes a little bit early. Flag goes up, so the bike's set, the rider goes on, the clock will start. So this is the ride for the bronze medal. In the front straight, the Southland team, Quinn Naylor, Navarre Brotherston, Mitchell Fitzsimmons. And in the back straight, we have composite team, Waikato's Bradley Forsyth, Tasman's Kao Lart, East Coast, North Island, Max Williams. So because those riders don't have, particularly Max and Kao, they don't have teammates, but that'll change, especially with that new velodrome down in Nelson, the outdoor velodrome. Jason Craig doing a fantastic job. The performance of Lart and Sean Fulton will motivate plenty down there. So Bradley Forsyth, the starter for the composite team. Out of the blocks nicely, same for Southland. Both teams away, very good. So the 3 laps, so that's really important. The third rider gets tucked into the slipstream. The second rider sometimes sits off the wheel a little bit because he wants to run hard into the slipstream of the rider in front of him. So both teams looking good. Bradley Forsyth, nice start from him. Kao Lart takes over. Composite team, oh, they might, no, they just have the advantage. So they're back straight at the moment. A good start from Bradley Forsyth, Kao Lart. The composite team still with the advantage too, so it's going to be on to the last team, the last men standing. Max Williams takes over for the composite team. The Southland rider just didn't pick up his number as he went through. He is fighting hard down the back. Williams, oh, he looks across, so he knows he's coming at him. That's a little bit of danger when you need to have a look. They go to the line. Who's going to take it? The back straight. Get there. Well, I'm starting to wonder if there's a tailwind down the back straight right now, because the back straight team are winning in score at the moment. Back straight results versus front straight. Very good ride from the composite team. Bradley Forsyth, Kao Lart, Max Williams.
Yeah, only 1 second between the top 4 teams in this under-19s men team sprint competition. And it's great to see the depth and the quality of the field in the end. The composite team qualified about 0.3 of a second behind the Southland team, but came back with some better legs and execution to this afternoon and have ridden to perfection to take out the bronze medal. Max Williams, Kao Lart, Bradley Forsyth. A good effort there, and tell you what, that Southland team, Mitchell Fitzsimmons at the end there, he was coming back charging. They had to hold them off, so great effort from the composite team. They'll be very happy to take away the bronze medal.
Yeah, well deserved. The word you used was execution, and that's what this event is all about. You get it right, it can pay big results. If you get it wrong, then it's so costly. It's decided in thousandths of a second. So we now move on to the women's 500 metre team sprint. Of course, with Ruben Webster crashing in the team's pursuit, not able to take his place in the team sprint. So unless we're informed otherwise, we would assume that Canterbury will take the gold. With Sebastian Lipp, Lawrence Pithy, Matthew Unsworth, they'll be disappointed not to ride. So this is the ride for third place. Elite Women's 500 metre sprint finals. Rhiannon Dunn.
So a little bit slow off the line there, Rhiannon Dunn. So Rhiannon Dunn had to then come over the top, but looks like they're in formation now, both teams. We know how good they can be, very close between them in the qualifying this morning. So let's see what they can put out there. So up a seed is the Auckland team, and so far they're ahead by about 10 metres out there on the track, and it's not enough to secure the win just yet. So Rhiannon Dunn will drive to the line for the Auckland team and secure the bronze medal. And a great effort from the riders out there.
37.714 the time for the Auckland pairing. Well done. 38.9 for Canterbury in the back straight. So there's we're watching Canterbury rider Fiona Bennett's rolling around. Great to have her in this competition. She rode the national championships as an under 19-year-old, 14 years later back, making a comeback at the Elite National Track Championships with Canterbury. So coming up, the gold medal ride. We have a composite team of Sian Fulton, the 500 metre time trial champion, and the Kieran champion from these championships. Joining her is Jamie King. So this is a team that the New Zealand selectors will be looking at for the future combination, particularly Sian Fulton with the form she has shown, up against Sophie Lee Bloxham and Nicole Marshall of Southland. So Sian Fulton has been, Paige, the form female, if we look across the sprinters with her results, sprinted well in the individual sprint competition, come away with 2 gold medals, trying to make it another one now in the team sprint.
It's great to see these up-and-coming riders really putting it to the elite riders in the New Zealand team. And without a doubt, Sian Fulton's done exactly that. Her teammate Jamie King, the same, both in the hub, these 2 riders. And they had a great qualification this morning, a time of 35.259, about a second outside the national record. And it's a pretty tough ask for the Southland team. So Bloxham will lead out the Southland team and King will lead out the composite team.
You want to ride off Southland, Sophie Lee Bloxham, very well performed rider in the younger age groups, along with Nicole Marshall. That's how you start out of the starting blocks, but both teams got away nicely. Jamie King on the inside, Sian Fulton has no problem getting into the slipstream, so both teams looking very good. Here's Southland coming down the front straight. The Southland pairing, they've got a little bit of work to do, as Paige mentioned. They will have to work hard, but they are doing that indeed. So Jamie King comes down, and it is really tight. Nothing between the 2 teams at the moment. It's just under 100th of a second between the 2. So Sian Fulton, she'll be using her strength, power and speed over the last 250 metres of this 500 metre event to bring home the gold medal, 35.289. So a little bit quicker, I think, than this morning's ride. Not quite. So good performance backing up with 2:35 rides. They would have been hoping to go a little bit faster in the afternoon. There you go, confirming the results. Average speed 51 kilometres an hour, 35.289 and 36.9.
So some great rides from the women's elite riders in that 500 metre team sprint qualifying. So we've seen the women's team sprints now. And we'll have a look at the final team sprint up on the track. We have the men's elite 750 metre team sprint final. And this one, similar to the under 19 men, where they have 3 laps this time, so an extra rider. And it's a funny one, this team sprint. Essentially, you've got 3 different riders out there on the track. The first rider is more of a strength rider. It's all about powering the bike up to full speed as quickly as possible. So you use a lot of strength. Many of these riders doing many hours of training in the gym as well. And the middle rider, it's all about transferring that power into speed, so that that middle rider must deliver that last rider at top speed. It's no good if the second rider is starting to die off his pace at the end of his lap, because just as that second rider comes through, he wants to be delivering that third rider at top speed. And the third rider, it's all about just maintaining speed. Tell you what, it's not about increasing the speed. You're doing a good effort if you're increasing the speed at that last position.
750 metres, 3 laps of the track. Dylan Day, Matt Pryor, Josh Scott up against the Wellington pair. Chris Watts, Russell Pepperell, joined by West Coast North Island's Angus Carlson. Both teams chasing the bronze medal in the final. Men's team sprint. This is the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under 19 National Track Championships. Just jumped in to the live stream. Welcome to Sky Sport Next. Dale Woodford with Paige Patterson in the commentary. Paige knows a thing or two about sprinting and younger days. Well, she's not even that old yet, but she's getting married in a few weeks' time, so getting a little bit older.
when
Your
I'm
life's
old.
getting serious.
It's a real deal, old, real life job and everything now.
The team sprints. Wellington, I know I've mentioned it before, but I love what they do down there with the Speed League program. Great group of dedicated people developing young riders and bringing some new riders and some experienced riders back into the sport. Here we go. Matt Pryor got out of the blocks like a rocket in round number 1. A little bit more control this time. Wheel 2 though, struggles always to get on the wheel of Matt Pryor, and he tried to control it from the start. Wellington, Chris Watts, very good start from the big man from Wellington. Chris Watts, look at the power he's putting in down the back straight. So even though Canterbury had the edge, if you go through, if you look at where second wheel was, I would give it to Wellington at the moment. Pepperell, there he goes, Russell Pepperell. He's always got the mouth open, pulling the handlebars. The speed merchant from Wellington swings over. Angus Carlson down the back, composite team with the advantage. Carlson won't slow down either. He is a real speedster. Angus Carlson with his famed orange shoes. He's been riding those for years. It's great to see. We always can pick him out. Angus Carlson goes home. Composite team take it out. Well done. Chris Watts, Russell Pepperell, Angus Carlson, well deserved. Well, they'll be delighted. The Wellington pair Page taking a bronze medal from these championships. That'll motivate a few others down there.
Yeah, not much of a track program down in Wellington, but over the years they have come up through the ranks, that's for sure. A number of high quality riders shining through and inspiring that younger generation. And
Well,
tell you what, that was a pretty quick sprint, and they've got quite a number of sprinters in the Wellington region that are seriously powerful. And it's great to see them out here and coming away with the bronze medal. It's pretty inspiring stuff.
Yeah, the work they're doing for many, many years. Wellington would come to the Nationals and there wouldn't be anybody from Wellington. Way back, they were combined with, of course, what now is the Tasman region, and they had many legends of the sport coming from down that way. Of course, the Millers come from Blenheim. The Palachis also, very good sprinters. Wayne and Don Palachi. And then we also, Jason Craig. They've had a stream of riders representing Wellington that's way back in the sort of mid-late 80s, early 90s, where they'd go up to the Hototo Velodrome and race under the Wellington Centre. Then they separated and the racing sort of stopped in Wellington, but the program is being rebuilt nicely. It started with the Burke Speed League and it's continued, and it's a summer program that I love to follow. They're great at posting the results and keeping everybody up to speed with what's going on.
Now this is going to be a good one, Del. We have the final for the men's elite team sprint. Right off for gold, the same as the Southland team pursuit team. Nick Kirkazoo, Tom Sexton, Connor Shearing. The back straight, Waikato Bay of Plenty. Got a tough ass, Caelan Calkin, Patrick Clancy and Jaden Fleming.
Well, interesting to say a tough ass, because I think Waikato at the moment have got slightly the edge because the Southland team have done so much racing.
Yep.
But Nick Kirkazoo is a class man riding wheel 3, but the speed. Remember Pat Clancy, he's been riding out of his skin at these championships. So Waikato up against Southland. Let's have a look as they go to complete lap number 1. They go to the line, Southland have the advantage. 19 second opening lap, always good to see. Waikato starting to fight back a little bit. Southland though, oh, they're looking good. They come to the own street, but there's not much between them now. Kilo Kurgi, he's got another 250 in him. Look at him swing on the handlebars down the back, ripping away. Pat Clancy had a little sneaky look across the track. Just needs to keep his head down. They go to the line. Kirkazoo takes it for Southland. What a ride by the Southland team. 46.7.
Great effort from Nick Kirkazoo in that last lap. Tell you what, took inspiration from Eddie Dawkins, who always finishes it off for the Southland team. So confirmation of the result, 46.7 for the Southland team. And Waikato Bay of Plenty, 47.3.
Well,
pretty
Waikato,
close to that last lap, eh?
That was great. It was a great team sprint, really good team sprint final for the Nationals. I thought
Just shows the class of Tom Sexton, Nick Kersegud, Connor Shearing. They have done a lot of racing today.
Yes, tell you what, there's many riders who have ridden multiple events throughout this championships. So it's not just one rider doing both the heats and the finals. Often they are riding another event as well. And we've seen that with Nick Kersegud, Tom Sexton, Connor Shearing, all doing the team pursuit as well. And having seen the hurt on these riders' faces, they want to give it absolutely everything for their regions. And they certainly haven't given 80 or 90%, they've given it 100. I know that the riders in the New Zealand team that are preparing for World Championships, the likes of Nick Kersegud, the last wheel, we saw the quality of the rider out there, and he's obviously in some great form. They're going through a pretty heavy patch of training at the moment. It's usually what these elite teams do about a month out from the World Championships. They start ramping up the training and do a big heavy block. Heavy block means plenty of power, plenty of speed, this pointy end of the season for them, and that will then give them about 3 weeks or so to recover, ease off the training load. Still the same intensity there, but just less repetitions of the efforts, and then they will be in tip-top form for the World Championships. World Championships, last chance for those New Zealand riders to qualify for the Olympics and also race off against their competitors. So it's a good opportunity for elite riders such as Nick Kersegud to make sure that he's in good form, and then gives him another 6 months to prepare, taper again, and come out all guns blazing for the Olympics in Tokyo, starting 3rd of August this year. Tell you what, it's not far away at all. We're almost in the 2nd month of the year, and the Olympics are in the 8th month of the year. So not long at all. What a fantastic championships it's been. That wraps up our team sprinting, but we are now looking forward to the Madison races, which are going to be electric racing, women's elite Madison, and the men's elite highlights. Those tuning in on Sky Sport Next, we're now going to give you some highlights from Friday night.
Welcome to the highlights from Day 2 of the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite Under-19 and Para National Track Cycling Championships. Our elite sprinters were in action throughout the day. They started in the morning with sprint qualifying, where we saw 2 championship records. Sam Webster set 9.766 in the men's, Natasha Hansen a new record of 10.851 in the women's. But later in the day, the tables were turned for the women's sprinters anyway, where Canterbury's Olivia Podmore went through to take the gold in 2 straight rides from Hansen.
Seems Olivia Podmore's not given up though. They go to the line. Podmore on the inside.
In the men's, Sam Webster was just pure class, winning all his events untroubled and winning the final in 2 straight rides over sprint teammate Ethan Mitchell. Jessie Hodges went into the final event of the Women's Omnium in 2nd position behind Ellie Wollaston. So she had to do something special on the points race, and that's exactly what she did, lapping the field to come away with the gold medal.
There she goes, going through.
World champion Lawrence Pithy was in an absolute class of his own in the Under-19 Men's Omnium, winning 3 of the 4 events and convincingly taking the gold medal.
Lawrence Pithy.
Our paracyclists were in action today in their individual pursuit events. In the men's 4,000 metres, it was young Cambridge rider Devon Briggs who took the gold medal from Connor Douglas of Southland and Lindsay File. In the women's 3,000 metre individual pursuit, it was Elizabeth Gasson who won the gold medal. In the Under-19 women's Kieran, it was Jenna Borthwick once again winning with her 3rd gold medal of these championships.
Borthwick goes to the line, takes it.
In the men's Under-19 Kieran, it was a little bit closer, with Canterbury's Sebastian Lip getting up in a photo finish from East Coast North Island's Max Williams.
Williams on the inside, Josh Miller making the big run as well. Williams goes to the line. That is very, very
Well, it was a star-studded field in the men's elite points race, but it was young Southland rider Corbin Strong who absolutely dominated, taking the gold medal from Campbell Stewart and Aaron Gate.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's cool to be racing guys like Aaron Gate and Campbell. They're pretty big names in the world of track cycling, and just to be out there racing with them is a pretty cool feeling.
Make sure you join us tomorrow for all the action from the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under-19 National Track Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2020 Vantage Elite and Under-19 National Track Championships. Under-19 Women's 500 metre team sprint will now take place. The medals will be presented by Mr. Bruce Goldsworthy, a life member of Cycling New Zealand Road and Track. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, representing Southland, Jennifer Brown and Tyler Green. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Canterbury, Jenna Borthwick, Michaela Grant. In first place, the winners of the gold medal and your 2020 Under-19 Women's Team Sprint National Champion, representing Waikato Bay Plenty, Maya Anderson and Prudence Fowler. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Please show your appreciation for your place getters in the 2020 Vantage Elite and Under-19 Track Championships 500 metre time trial. Our next medal presentation is for the Under-19 Men's Team Sprint. Bruce will once again kindly present the medals. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, the composite team of Bradley Forsyth, K.O. Lart and Max Williams. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bay Plenty, Zach Patterson, Hamish Coltman, and of course Ruben Webster, who is just in medical. In first place, and winners of the gold medal, your 2020 Under-19 Men's Team Sprint National Champions, representing Canterbury, Sebastian Lipp, Lawrence Pithy, Matthew Onsworth. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for the 2020 Under-19 Men's Team Sprints medalist and champion. The next presentation is for the Elite Women's Team Sprint. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, representing Auckland, Rihanna Dunn and Bianca Green. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Southland, Sophie Lee Bloxham and Nicole Marshall. In first place, winners of the gold medal in your 2020 Elite Women's Team Sprint National Champions, the composite team of Jamie King and Sian Fulton. Ladies and gentlemen, to show your appreciation for your medal winners in the Elite Women's Team Sprint. Our next presentation is for the Elite Men's Team Sprint. In third place, go up guys. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, it's the composite team of Russell Pepperell and Chris Watts from Wellington and Angus Carlson, West Coast, North Island. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Kaylin Clarkin, Patrick Clancy, Jaden Fleming. In first place, the winners of the gold medal in the 2020 Elite Men's Team Sprint National Champions, representing Southland, Nicholas Kirgazoo, Tom Sexton and Connor Shering. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for your medal winners and champions, Southland in the men's team sprint. Yeah, well done to all the teams in the team sprint competition. Great to see teams racing. So coming up shortly on the track, we will have the Madison
The Madison is a team event. Each team is made up of 2 riders. The riders propel each other forward as they meet between laps. The race is 50 kilometres for men, 200 laps on 250-metre tracks, and 30 kilometres for women, 120 laps on 250-metre tracks. Teams sprint every 10 laps to accumulate points according to the following structure. 5 points to the first team, 3 points to the second team, 2 points to the third team, and 1 point to the fourth team. Points awarded in the last sprint after the full distance will be doubled. In addition to the sprints, teams can earn 20 points for lapping the field and joining the back of the main bunch of riders. Final standings are decided by points. The winner is the team with the most points at the end of the race. If there is a draw on points, the places in the final sprint shall decide the winner.
And we have a fantastic couple of races to round out this Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under-19 Track National Championships, the Madisons. And you've just seen how the Madisons run, and I'm glad that gave you some sort of explanation, because it's not an easy task to follow the Madison. However, once you get an idea of exactly how they work, there's some fantastic racing to watch. And essentially it's a points race. We've seen the points race last night, but this time there's 2 people in each team, 2 riders, and the under-19 and elite riders are combined in the Madison. So for the women, we'll have a 80-lap race, and for the males, it's a 100-lap race. So plenty of laps out there on the track, and plenty of very tight racing, no doubt. So the riders essentially sling each other into the race and out of the race, so it's kind of a bit of a tag team. Only one rider is actually in the race at a time, while the other rider is rotating around the top of the track. And throughout the race, the riders will try and pick up points. And it's essentially a points race. So the rider with the most points at the end of the race, or the riders, I should say, the team with the most points at the end of the race will win. And some very exciting racing. All important is these slings as they tag each other as such in and out of the race. And just having a look down, we will start off with the Women's Elite and Under-19 Madison before the men's. And if I have a look down through the riders that are competing in this Women's Madison, tell you what, some pretty good teams out there, a number of riders who are heading off to the World Championships in a month's time. And this is a fairly new event for the Women's Elite. The males used to compete in it for quite some time, and it's only recent that the women have started competing. So you may see a few newbies out there on the track, having only raced a handful of these Madison races. So there'll be 80 laps in total and a sprint every 10 laps. So there's 8 sprints, and essentially you pick up points. If you're first over the line in a sprint, you gain 5 points. If you're second over the line, you get 3 points, then back down to 2 and 1. So 5, 3, 2 and 1. And some of the riders to keep an eye out for, we have the Young Guns team, the Subway Blue team of Ellie Walston and Jessie Hodges. And so they will go head to head with the likes of the Waikato Bay of Plenty team, Bryony Botha and Rushley Buchanan, as well as the Vantage Green team, Raquel Sheath, Nicole Shields. So all of those riders that I've read out are in the New Zealand squad, and they will be looking to convincingly win this race, but it is not going to be easy. Just look further down the list, a bit of a young gun team with the Canterbury team, Jenna Borthwick, Charlotte Spurway. And so the riders are rolling out now. So this is, as you can see, one rider from each team is rolled out, and they're rolling around the track, getting up to full speed. And when they do that, they will next come around and sling the other rider into the race. So these riders on screen at the moment, they are just rolling around ready for their teammate to come. But I tell you what, the Waikato Bay of Plenty team looks to have taken off from the get-go. That's Rushley Buchanan, and she's about to sling in her teammate, also off to Worlds next month. They've taken a flyer from the get-go. They realise that not many people are likely to be watching. Subway Blue Team, Jessie Hodges, Ellie Walston have also taken off. They know the sort of threat of Bryony Botha and Rushley Buchanan. And I tell you what, this race is going to be hot from the get-go if these sort of attacks are coming thick and fast. Already there's a bit of a bunch out there at the back and a bunch up the front. See, as one rider flings the other rider into the race, the importance of the sling and timing that just right as you lead into a sprint, for example, or another time in the race where you're trying to get away. Those riders that are about to sling the other rider into the race, the one that's about to be tagged out of the race, you'll see them put their hands up onto the top of the handlebars just for better balance as they do sling the other rider into the race. So we have a bunch of 4 out in front at the time being, the Subway Blue Team, the Waikato Bay of Plenty team, the Southland team members by the looks of things. That's Riley McMullen, so the Subway and the Subway Green team, the Vantage Green team, sorry. So all of these riders, national riders in New Zealand, and they're competing for their different regions, as well as there's some various team stripes out there, so not always just regional stripes. For example, the likes of the Subway Blue Team and the Vantage Green team. And so the Canterbury team, Jenna Borthwick, Charlotte Spurway, having to put in a bit of an effort to go off the front and try and catch that break, which happened very quickly. And it went off from the get-go and caught some of those younger riders napping a bit there. But if you're in the break, tell you what, you're in the money. Bryony Botha on the front now, leading out. From behind, we have the Subway Blue Team, Jessie Hodges, Ellie Walston. And right into a sprint, Rushley Buchanan on the front. She's going to lead out the first one. And behind her, Jessie Hodges, winner in the points race, a good sprinter. See if she wants this one. Looks like she kind of wants it, but not really enough. Rushley Buchanan's leading to the line, and Jessie Hodges trying to come over the outside. I don't think she did enough in the end there, and hot on her heels. We had the Southland Hub team. It's Riley McMullen also there in the action, and the Vantage Green team not quite keeping up in that sprint. Nicole Shields and Raquel Sheath out there in the action. And so they look to have slowed up a little bit at the front of the race, but already the field is in splinters. It just shows that the depth of racing in New Zealand. We have 5 very strong teams out there, and the young guns who are making that transition up to the elite women's grade, just struggling with the pace early on. But again, many of these riders, the likes of Jenna Borthwick, have already raced numerous racing, and this is the last race for the elite and under 19 women in this year's Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under 19 Track National Championships.
Well, in the Madison, there's not just the legs that have to do the work. You've got the hand slings that play a big part, and when you're doing the hand slings, it's also about timing, the speed you take off the banking, how you execute the changes. A lot of the riders try to pull their teammate's arm off, and that, if you look at the change going through now, how smooth that was down the back straight. So that's what you've got to keep an eye out. We'll get a good shot on the front straight. When they change, there's a nice change there. Raquel Sheath changing, and not a lot of effort being put into the change, because letting the arms and the body do the work. It's where you hold your hands, how you put your hands, how much space you create for the other rider. A lot of the riders don't judge the speed into the change correctly, so as they hit the partner, they're either going a bit too fast or a bit too slow, and it really yanks on the arms and the shoulders and disrupts the rhythm. So it's not just about riding the bike with the speed in the legs and the strength. It's about getting the changes right, keeping smooth. There's also a little bit of what we'd call a washing machine effect when you ride a Madison. There's a smooth place to be, and that's that group that's on the front. If there were more riders in that, it can get a little bit messy. When you're 4, 5, 6 back, you find yourself chasing all the time, as we see Mackenzie Milne right now changing, coming up to make a change. So it's the responsibility of the riders changing, the one coming in to ride around the outside of the riders in front. You never change. You never go inside a change. It always ends badly.
And so at the time being, we have everyone back together. So the bunch that fell off the back has put in a good effort to catch up to the main bunch. But again, still those top riders at the front. Going to come in to hear the bell now. Just one lap till the next sprint. And 5 points are on offer.
So some teams like to time their changes just before, just after the sprint. We're seeing 2 changes being made there just after the sprint into the back straight. Raquel Sheath coming around, wants the 5 points. A very good Madison rider, going to be challenged all the way to the line. And Ellie Wollaston, Jessie Hodges.
So those 2 riders who went off the front in that sprint, Wollaston and Sheath, they are going to continue their efforts here by the looks of things. They've accelerated away and straight away. Brushley Buchanan from the YBOP team, she's accelerated too. She knows the threat of these 2 riders, and they got away earlier. The poor other riders who only just caught up to the bunch are now all splintered out across the track yet again. So all it takes is one sprint. So we have in the front bunch now Buchanan, and just a bit of a change over there. So it looks like Nicole Shields and Jessie Hodges and Bryony Botha, and I think that's Riley McMullen, or the other Southlander. No, it's the other Southlander. That's Emily Patterson.
So they're riding really well on this Emily Patterson, Riley McMullen, really experienced international Madison riders. So to be in this group is really good. And you can see the other teams always having to come and just not getting the changing as smooth as like the Southland team, also not quite as smooth as the riders that ride it in the national team. The riders at the second group coming down the back straight now, they'll come into our shot. They're just working hard, continuously trying to get in contact. And when you get in contact, you want to stay in there, and you're changing the timing. Everything is about timing in the Madison. The timing coming in, the smoothness of the change, keeping it nice and smooth. Also not panicking, knowing where you're going, knowing when the riders in front of you are. You can see there, Bryony Botha just hops down onto the wheel, easily slings her partner, Rushley Buchanan, into the race. Of course, Rushley's husband is one of the top Madison riders in the world, Adrian Hedgevari.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick pace out there. There's attacks going left, right and centre. Again, Buchanan off the front. And it's great to see this type of aggressive racing. These riders have multiple races throughout the event, but they're not letting that mentally get to them. They're just going to be strong throughout the championships. It's their, I would have thought for these elite riders heading off to the World Champs that it's their last hit out before they start tapering for the event. So Rushley Buchanan on the front, Ellie Wollaston behind, and Raquel Sheath there in the action too.
Yeah, Southland, Canterbury doing a fair bit of work now. They've got to chase all the time. Charlotte Spurway comes in, easily closes the gap, just starts getting used to riding through the traffic. So now she just has to relax and follow the action, follow the rider in the 2 red, Nicole Shields, in the green strip.
So both are on the front, getting challenged by Hodges on the outside, and Shields also trying to make a bit of a threat there. Hodges comes over the top of both. Hodges got one great sprint on her. She just accelerates over the top. So Hodges, Botha and Shields, let's see if they continue this attack. And Riley McMullen, she's picked up the last point on offer there, wanting to make sure she's there in the action too.
So Riley McMullen did a big turn there to get them, the Southland pairing, back into contention. Now staying there is the challenge for them, watching the traffic in front of them, making sure they're following the changes of the other riders. So you can see coming out of turn 3 into turn 4, down into the home straight. Nice change, Ellie Wollaston comes in. Jessie Hodges.
So if we have a look at the points board at the moment, we've got the Subway Blue team. They are at the top of the leaderboard with 11 points, followed by the Waikato Bay of Plenty team and 9 points. The Vantage Green team and 8 points, and Southland Hub with 3 points. So very early days, but they look to be sharing the points between them all. So far, there's no dominant team, which makes for some great racing.
They'll come, the front riders. If you always look at the starter, there he goes, he's pointing to the front group. So some lap riders now in that front group. They can still points once you lap. They've lost 20 for being lapped, but then you can start scoring points again. So you go from 20 to negative 15 if you win a sprint. You take 20 points if you take a lap. It's just like the points race. It's a relay, 2-person relay. except there's no baton. You've got to use your hands to sling the riders in. And it's just like the individual points race, but with a teammate. So the rules over the years changed a little bit for the Madison. At one stage you weren't allowed to change before a sprint, just to keep it a little bit safer. Now you can pretty much change anywhere on the track.
And as you said, those changes are so important, Del. You need to make sure when you do sling your teammate into it that you don't sling them too hard into the race if there's already a big bunch in front of them. It's all about nice soft changes at times, but other times leading into a sprint, when you need to make up ground on a competitor in front of you, you sling them as hard as you can into the race.
So the rider coming in will generally grab the arm of the rider, hold it stiff, the rider on the inside, push back off it. A lot of the riders put their hands up on the hip. It's generally a little bit higher in modern racing. It was where it was done in the old days with the hand on the hip, and you could easily find it. Now you want to have your hand lower down. You don't have to grab the hand, you can grab the arm. So you can see, if we have a good look at a change, there's a great change there. So here's attack into the bell, 41 to go. Going after the points, Raquel Sheath down the back, puts the head down. Ellie Williston, though, kicks up onto the back wheel. Will Williston try to come over the top? She's going to try and challenge for the points. Rolls down, takes them. Just a little bit too much speed. Now, what will Raquel Sheath, Ellie Williston do there? But we look at each other. Shall we keep it going? Where are their teammates? That's also important, is the speed your teammate rotates around the track above the blue line, because you don't want your teammate going too fast that they ride away from you after a big effort. But if you ride too slow, sometimes the rider, you've got to be aware where your teammate is. If they're too slow, up the top of the banking, they come screaming in to get the change. Confirming the sprint, Subway Blue, Vantage Green, Waikato Bay Plenty. 16 points to Subway Blue on the leaderboard, Vantage Green with Waikato Bay Plenty on 11, the Southland Hub on 4 and 4th. They're still in contention, Southland, but they do need to start scoring some points, and that's about either attacking and going off the front before the sprint, or trying to take a lap, or getting themselves in the position to follow some wheels and get some points. They just need a few more on the board. Emily Patterson is the Southland rider. Now there's a nice change. Rushley Buchanan did it with ease, maintained good speed, nice drop in. Good experience for the younger riders, because the Madison now is a World Championship and an Olympic event, one of the oldest events in cycling, the Madison. It started in Madison Square Garden in New York.
It's got to be one of the most exciting races to watch and call. And there's always so much going on, but this race has really been a race of 4 teams. The Subway Blue team, the Vantage Green team, the Waikato Bay of Plenty team, and also the Southland Hub team. I'm very impressed with the Southland Hub team so far. It's had some great points on the board, up to in 4th spot at the moment. So Subway Blue, Vantage Green team, we've got 16 and 11 respectively.
As a reminder of the riders in the team, because it comes up on the screen as blue and green. And the green team, Raquel Sheath, Nicole Shields. The blue team is Ellie Williston, Jessie Hodges. Waikato Bay Plenty team of Briony Botha, Rushley Buchanan. And then in the Southland colours, we have Emily Patterson, Riley McMillan. A couple of riders coming off the track, Mackenzie Milne being one of those.
There's also one of the King sisters, Courtney King. Looks like she actually tumbled down at some stage throughout the race. You can see the holes in her kit that she was wearing. Just burns from the velodrome here if you do come down, sadly.
So they do a lot of work in Madison coaching, Madison training, when they run the Cycling New Zealand run the National Track Series for young riders. They ride generally 2 or 3 of these races in a day. Really exciting. They ride with different partners. They get told about good technique. Now we've got some sprints going on. Ella Wiley just getting herself in the train for the sprint points. She's going to go through, collect a couple. That's good. Good to see her. Some of the young riders, now that the race is spread out a bit, they're finding their feet. Another lap goes. Rushley Buchanan starts to apply the pressure on the front. Rushley Buchanan, one of the top female Madison riders in the world. This sort of racing really suits her. when it's aggressive. But today, it's getting so fast. I was talking to Campbell Stewart, just confirming the sprint. Subway Blue, Waikato Bay, Plenty, the Auckland Hub team. And the blue team of Wollaston and Hodges still increasing their lead. 21 over 14, but we've still got 28 laps to go. No one's been able to lap the field from the front group, covering each other.
Doesn't look like so far we've had anyone looking to take a lap on the field individually. Had a number of riders go off the front and work together, but haven't stuck just yet to get a lap on the field as such. So 21 points is a fairly handy lead over seven over the Waikato Bay Plenty team. And you can see as the riders roll up the track here, just looking for a little bit of a rest. They often do this is so that if there is an attack underneath, they're able to utilise the banking and the steepness of the track to simply roll back down into the race and not have to put in too much effort to get back up to speed.
So when the riders are all back together, remember with 2 sprints still to go and 3 sprints still to go in the race, a lot can change, especially as lap riders come in, because they are still allowed to sprint and score points. So if they start taking some points off, say, Subway Blue, and the Waikato Bay Plenty team start scoring some points, then that can really affect the outcome quite quickly. What the top riders like is the little group, and they're fighting it out and sharing the points, especially if you're leading. And sometimes the team that is leading, like the Subway Blue team of Ali Wallace and Jesse Hodges, they will encourage or almost let some of the riders that haven't scored as many points right away in those final sprints to take the points. That means the big points don't go to their closest rivals, which is the Waikato Bay Plenty team of Ronnie Bortha and Rushley Buchanan. So the tactics in the closing stages of a Madison can change quite a bit. Just depends who takes control of the race. Jenna Borthwick, Charlotte Spurway. Charlotte Spurway is going to come in. You can see her hand now, it's a little bit high. We're talking about having a little bit lower. Just makes it harder to grab the rider and come into the race when your hand's up there. You'll see the rider that's coming in to make the change on the inside of the track will put their hands on the top of the handlebars. The rider that's coming into the race has one hand down on the drops. It keeps the bike a lot more stable. You try and do it the other way around, the bike is really wobbly. Now there's the total contrast of change, the wide lower hand position as Raquel Sheath comes in. Going after another sprint though, but Ronnie Bortha down the back is hunting her all the way through into the 100. Raquel Sheath gives a little bit of kick on the pedals. Comes down, takes the 5 points. So good tactics, good sprinting from Raquel Sheath. Timed the change into the sprint perfectly. As a wee look, where's my teammate?
Yeah, surprised to have not seen Botha try and take a lap on the track. She has a great individual pursuit and an ability to hold a pace for an extended period of time. But as you see there, not quite got the kick to match Raquel Sheath, the former BMXer. She's got a great sprint on her, plenty of fast twitch fibres. So the Vantage and Subway teams now take a sling before they move into the next. And so just 2 sprints remaining now, sorry. And of course on that final sprint, there's double points on offer. They need to make sure they do well in that final sprint. We may see some teams just ease up for that second to last sprint and maybe not even compete for the points. Or, of course, in this situation, there's 2 riders. One rider competes for the next sprint, and the best sprinter out of the 2 riders may compete for the last sprint. It's interesting always how they make up these teams out there on the track. There may be one rider that's a little bit, if you have a look at the Waikato Bay Plenty team, Bryony Botha, fabulous at holding a pace for a constant period of time or extended period of time, whereas Rushley Buchanan, more of a sprinter. So no doubt they'll be looking to fling Rushley Buchanan in for the sprints, and the workhorse as such in the laps in between, maybe Bryony Botha. There's the other teams out there. You look at the likes of Jesse Hodges, Ali Wollaston. Both riders have a great sprint on them as well, so they just share the workload between them.
The riders just have a little bit of a lull, just a little bit of recovery. 13 laps on the scoreboard. This is the front of the race now. You just see it. The camera will probably stick with it through the next 3 laps, try and follow the front of the bike race. Riley McMillan comes down the track. Gets Hansling, went really wide. That uses a lot of energy when you're that wide. So it's going, if you're too narrow,
too high, too wide, too long. It uses a lot of energy, takes a lot more to control the bike. So the riders mixing, dicing for position. They know they'll be coming around to get the bell lap. Ali Willison decides, well, I'm going to lead it out. Is she going to make the change? Has a look. Where's her teammate? She is indeed. So Ali Willison makes the change. Nicole Shields comes in for the sprint. Riley McMillan's up there as well, and that's what the rider from Southland needs to do, is try and chase and get some points. There's Rushdie Buchanan, though. Rushdie Buchanan's up onto the back wheel of Ali Williston. Can she have enough speed and momentum to get over the top? Go to the line. No, she can't. Sorry, that was Ali Williston's teammate Jessie Hodges. Just too much speed and power and kick. Rushdie Buchanan got up there for some points. And the chase is on for the others behind. We see the leaders changing. Rushdie Buchanan, Bronny Booth in the perfect place to change after a sprint, exactly one lap. And then Ali Williston will come down. She's going to drop in for the change now. Just with a little bit of work to do, but with the pace not being on at the front, she'll cruise up onto the wheel of Rushdie Buchanan. Some lap riders, so the pace just settles. There'll be 7 laps to go when they come past us. The race has gone quickly. Penultimate race on the final day. There's sprint confirmation, sprint 7, Subway Waikato Southland. Vantage Green getting a point. So will there be any late attacks? It's a great experience for some of the young riders like Maddie Douglas getting in here, just getting a feel for just how fast the pace is. The likes of Raquel Sheath, Rushdie Buchanan, Bronny Bortha put the hammer down, decide to go, it's time to crank it up a little bit, ladies, and they'll be grateful for a hit out in the National Championships. The Madison at the World Champs, you can practice them in training, but it's good to do it in traffic, have riders of different ability around you, makes you think. There's the leaderboard, 8 points between the top 2 teams. The team with number 1, Subway Blue at 28, Waikato Bay Plenty on 20, Vantage Green on 17. Southland, they've got a couple, but they're on 6. So the 3 placings, the top 3, they will be very cautious now, watching who might go up the track, and it's Beyond both that decides, well, I'm just going to, that's Rushdie Buchanan, in fact, it's gone on the attack, so wants to go out for a long one. Now this is because they're not the fastest sprinters, but of the other 2, so they're trying to attack them from a long way out. 3 laps to go, they'll keep the pace high. But it's been closed down straight away. Nicole Shields wasn't going to let them go away. So they're back together, the 3 top teams coming round into view.
Yes, it's a race of these 3 really, but it is still anyone's gold medal out there, because if the Waikato Bay Plenty team win this next sprint, then they have won the race. So Subway Blue team, you can see here they're on the counter attack now, and they're going to come in to hear the bell. So is it going to be Subway Blue? Is it going to be Waikato Bay Plenty? And the Vantage team's taken off at the front. It's Raquel Sheath. On the outside, it's Ali Walston. Ali Walston wants it. She wants the gold medal. She's taken off and left Raquel Sheath in her dust. So the Subway Blue team will take the win. We'll have to wait for confirmation to see whether it was the Waikato Bay Plenty or the Vantage Green team in the end who took out the silver medal, but no doubt about it. Put your hands together for the new Elite Women's National Champions, Subway Blue team.
Early Williston, she is one class act. Has done a lot of racing throughout these championships and just showed how much speed is in her legs. That's why she's a junior world individual pursuit champion. And very, very good bunch race rider. She's also the National Elite Criterium champion. Well-deserved win. Ali Williston, Jessie Hodges. That was an impressive performance in the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite Women's Madison. Well, if that was the first time you've seen a bike race, you're probably wondering, that is a complicated sport. That looked messy. How do I follow that? The men's, that will be even worse. There's more teams on the track. There's some tired legs. There's some inexperienced riders. There's some riders with a lot to prove, riders that want to prove a lot. So this is going to be a really fast race.
men's elite and under 19 at Madison. Teams have combined. We have a bunch of different jerseys because they need to ride in the same kit. They're numbered differently. It takes us a little while to pick them up. One wears a red number, one wears a black. Sometimes their one number's not in a position where we can easily see it, because they don't often have them on both sides. So the teams will go through the centre teams for a start. Canterbury, Hugo Jones, Josh Scott. Now if they are feeling good, they are a very, very skilled Madison pair. They race on the 6-day circuit. Watch them if you want to learn how to ride a Madison. There we go, confirming the results. Subway Blue with 38 points, Waikato Bay Plenty 24, Vantage Green 23, Southland Hub on 8. Very good, 1 point between the silver and bronze. The Subway Blue team, congratulations to them. That's the team of Subway Blue, Ali Williston, Jesse Hodges, taking the win. Waikato Bay Plenty, Rushy Buchanan, Ronnie Botha, and then Raquel Sheath, Nicole Shields. Well, Raquel Sheath, I think, will be reasonably happy with her comeback to top-level cycling after crashing so hard at one of the World Cups. It's a long road when you're full, very hard. We've seen Jordan Castle take a couple of years to come back from his big fall in Koblenz in Germany when he smashed his shoulder, a couple of operations. Nice to see the Southland fans, as always. It's just like being at home up here. It's nice and warm, they're used to that. And it was warm on the way down here this afternoon. It had 30 degrees on the car, the outside temperature. Get into the velodrome, and it was a whole lot hotter. So this is going to be fireworks. We have 12 teams, 24 riders on the track. The maximum riders you generally see in a Madison is 15 teams or 30 riders. So Canterbury, Hugo Jones, Josh Scott, as I mentioned. Waikato, George Jackson, Zach Patterson. East Coast, North Island, Max Williams, Mitchell Fitzsimmons. Southland, Navarre Brotherston, Jacob Willis. The Southland Hub team, Morgan Borry, Quinn Naylor. Tasman, Kao Lart, Oliver Grave. The Auckland team, Liam Regan, Aidan Merrick. The Skoda team is Lawrence Pithy, Tom Sexton. Now that is another very, very good team in this bike race. Lawrence Pithy, a World Madison champion with Kean Watts at the junior level. Let's have a look at Kean Watts is riding with, I thought he was riding with Nick Kukazu, but he's not on the program in the colours of Coupland's. But we'll just check that. On the program it's got Kane Croup, but when I spoke to Nick earlier, he said he was riding with Kean Watts. Griffin Spencer, Connor Shearing, Tate Somerville, Lucas Murphy. Morgan Borry, Naylor Quinn. So some riders with some real international Madison experience here. The colours of Canterbury, Hugo Jones, Josh Scott, Lawrence Pithy, Tom Sexton. They would be, I guess, the most experienced combinations. Nothing always goes to plan. Skoda right in 3. Tom Sexton has a red number on. Lawrence Pithy will wear the black number. So starting out is Tom Sexton on the front. In the colours of East Coast North Island. We have Max Williams. They're in the orange. Mitchell Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons starting off in the red. Canterbury, so one in the Canterbury kit, one in the all-red jersey. It looks quite similar, but we'll keep an eye on them. the other red team is Team 7. That is MSM, Josh Van Hennigan, Ryan McLeod. So Van Hennigan, McLeod. This is going to be a fast race right from the start. The Canterbury pairing are going to go on the attack. Josh Scott, Hugo Jones. So Page, one of the most experienced Madison pairs. They've ridden a lot of 6 days. They've got 2 more to go. They've been invited to 2 more on the very exciting 6-day circuit. So this is almost bread and butter to them, turning up and riding in national championships.
It's great to see these two here on our home turf riding together. As you mentioned, Del, being it's an honour in itself to be invited to those 6-day races, and they keep getting invited back. And they obviously have a little bit of showmanship in them too, to be able to keep the crowd entertained throughout the racing. So Josh Scott, Hugo Jones, keep an eye out on these 2 riders. And it's been hot and furious from the get-go. All teams staggered around the track still, and having a look at the front of the race, we have the Skoda team, like Tom Sexton off the front at the time being.
Tom Sexton and Lawrence Pithy, both very good Madison riders. Tom Sexton raced with Aaron Gate, the World Cup. As I said, Lawrence Pithy, a World Junior Madison champion with Kean Watts. Kean not racing the Madison here, so Lawrence Pithy has paired up with Tom Sexton, and that's a good combination. There'll be some interest, I think, in the stands with the selectors for future combinations if we get World Cups and that going again.
It'll be interesting too to see. I don't think I've ever watched Pithy in a Madison before, but he is the current junior world champion in this event, as you mentioned, Dal, with Kean Watts. And watch as these riders come down the track ready to make a change. They must accelerate to a speed that's comparable with the rider that's about to change out of the race. You can't come in cold, I tell you that much. You will rip your shoulders out of your sockets. So Bell now, first sprint out there, first of 10 sprints. And leading it out, we have the Skoda team on the front. Looks like Tom Sexton. And behind him, the Canterbury team, as expected. So that was Hugo Jones also there in the action. So Tom Sexton looked like he took max points.
90 laps to go, 100 laps in the Madison. 25 kilometres. So Josh Scott in there for Canterbury. Very good combination, as we've talked about. It's going to be a real battle between them and the Skoda riders. Of course, that's the young Skoda team. Had a pretty good day yesterday at the Gravel and Tar. Skoda Fusio doing a lot. And there they go, top of the leaderboard, 5-3. MSM, East Coast and North Island scoring the point. So the key is to keep in the moves, keep in the mix, keep in the bit where the changes are humming and it's working really well. If you get behind that, you're in the wash, if you like. You're just always bouncing front and back, chasing, getting caught up in changes, having to slow down. So you've always got to be in the mix, and MSM doing a good job following the Canterbury pairing around the track.
Yes, they know them well.
Change.
Yeah, they know them well, being Christchurch riders as well. Josh Van Heiningen and Ryan McLeod. So they know the Canterbury combo. No doubt have raced against them multiple times. And as you alluded to earlier, Dal, it's all about positioning in the bunch. And wherever you position yourself does translate to how much effort you're putting in out there on the track at all times. And sometimes just a little bit of effort you put in allows you to keep up with the bunch and not have to expend more energy than you need to at later stages of the race. But it's a pretty hot pace out there, but I'm impressed to see so many teams there in the action.
Ryan McLeod has a little look. Once Pithy comes in, excellent change from Tom Sexton at high speed. George Jackson follows him around the track. Max Williams is going to come in the orange colours. Higgin comes back and Lawrence Pithy sits there. Then George Jackson. So the pace is on, the speed of this race significantly quicker. You can see the aggression. Here's an attack coming from Canterbury. The Canterbury team decide, well, we've got 82 laps to go. We'll just keep the pressure on. Now they've got a gap. They have to make their way through the traffic, and that's where you lose a little bit of ground. You had to go high, cover another few metres. Look who's chasing. Lawrence Pithy's got his head down. He knows he's got to be in the mix. It'll be a high-speed change. That's a very good change. Pithy puts Tom Sexton in at the bell, but leading it out, one black. Down the back straight, that's Hugo Jones. He's thrown his partner into it. There's a very good change of speed. Josh Scott, that is excellent execution of a Madison change. But Skoda,
Tom Sexton takes another 5. Wow, beautiful racing, excellent Madison racing, high speed changes. George Jackson comes in, 3 teams all of a sudden at the front of the bike race. And you'll see Coupland's Bakery trying to close the gap down, Southland as well. Southland riders, Navarre Brotherson, Jacob Willis, they probably wonder what's hit them right now because the speed of this is probably not quite what they've been used to. And in Madison, the Madison riders now riding really big gears as well, up in the high 100s, 110s, 120s. You're riding in Madison on the World Cup and World Championship stage. There's 100 laps at generally 60 kilometres an hour. So that's why the big gears. No longer do you kill a whole lot of speed around the top of the track to try and slow down too much, because at the speed of the race, you usually find you're too far away from your partner who's in the race. So they keep circulating at quite a high speed at a World Cup. At this level where the speed's slightly lower, you'll see the riders kill a little bit more speed on the bankings. So lots of changes in the Madison since it's become an Olympic sport. Once it's brought into the Olympics, the style of racing changes, the speed of the race increases. Kao Lart just looking for his partner left and right in the colours of Tasman. So the race settles down once again, 76, they'll have 75 when they come down the finishing straight.
Yes, so still a few more laps until the next sprint. Of course, these riders do have the ability to take a lap on the field, and I have no doubt some of these teams had in their race book to try and take a lap, but it will completely depend on their condition. This is the last race of the competition for all of the riders out there, and they'll just have to assess throughout the race how they're feeling and whether they think that effort, when it'll be a big effort to take a lap on the field, especially a field of this quality, throughout the race, and decide whether it's a good time to do so. Of course, you gain 20 laps if you do 20 points if you gain a lap on the field, whereas for a sprint win you only gain 5 points.
Quite impressed with the way the Waikato, young Waikato pairing of George Jackson and Zach Patterson are slotting in, finding their rhythm. It's not easy. Nick Kershaw puts in Kane Krupp into the race. And Nick said to me, so his teammate has good legs because his are feeling a little bit tired. Another good workout, or down the back now. Lawrence Pithy goes on the front. He's going to have another high-speed change as they come in. There's a very good change from the Canterbury guys. You can see how smoothly they do that. No effort at all. And there's the attack around the outside. So the timing for Skoda, it was good, but not quite good enough. Now they've got to work hard to get on equal terms. They'll just settle for the second place on the sprint. Excellent execution from Scott and Jones. They take the 5. They get 2 points back. And straight away there's an attack from the Waikato, Zach Patterson. He is riding very impressively. The young man stepping up, that's good. He's not intimidated by the speed of this race. Good to see. He's hanging in there. George Jackson, well, George has got a big heart. Canterbury 5, Skoda 3, Waikato 2, and the 1 point went to Coupland's. Skoda still top on 11 from Canterbury, on 13, Canterbury on 11, Waikato on 4. So the points gap is starting to widen after just a few sprints. 67 when they come around the start finish, as we watch George Jackson, Coupland's Bakery team coming in, combination, Kane Krupp, Nick Kurgazoo. Nick's had a big day, team sprints, teams pursuits, and now the Madison after a big weekend. And you see the speed, Lawrence Pithy, he's got so much gas, just like Ellie Williston. Raced everything. Pithy, a winner of 4 gold medals in the individual competition. Still looking very comfortable in the Madison.
Yeah, Pithy coming through the junior ranks like Wollaston, as you mentioned, Dell, and it makes a big difference. Those riders, as they step through the different age groups, they're restricted in gearing in the younger age groups, and therefore they must learn to pedal the bike and spin as fast as possible. It's more about who can spin the gear the fastest in the younger age groups, compared with power and strength. And then that means that when they do move up into the elites and they have open gearing, they're able to not just pedal that bike very fast, but they also need to learn to put a little bit more strength into those big open gears. There's no point putting on a big gear if you're not able to spin it.
Well, a lot of teams still in contention. This is really good to see. High-speed Madison racing. The Vantage of Windows and Doors, Elite and Under 19 National Track Cycling Championships The final event of 4 days of absolutely excellent racing. And it's been coming to you on Sky Sport Next. A big thanks to SBI, the production team that have been working so hard in the velodrome for producing a great show for us. Here's a good battle for the points. Go to the line. Who's it going to be? Sprint. George Jackson goes through. The bell goes. Oh, it's wound up. Full gas down the back. There's a little bit of traffic to go round. The Skoda team round the outside. George Jackson. Oh, here comes Canterbury as well. This is going to be an attack from Canterbury. I can see it coming. No, they just covered the move. I thought they were going to launch a big attack from Canterbury. The Canterbury combination, they were winding up. The speed, they'll just settle in. They'll take control of the race at the front. The big attack will come at some stage, I'm sure, is Joshua Scott. Josh Scott swings up the track, has a look. Where's Hugo Jones? I might change. He does.
Super impressed with this Canterbury team. They have only recently stepped up from the junior ranks, but talk about a great combination. The two riders ride so well together, plenty of experience together compared with some of these newer teams out there on the track, and it does really show.
Massive attack from Nick Kirkazoo. He's going to grab Khan Krupp. There we go. This is a planned move as well, being covered though, straight away. Josh Van Hennigan on the wheel. Here's a good change. Oh, he just missed Ryan McLeod. That's going to be costly. That is really costly. He tagged them, so McLeod has to come into the race and do some work to get on equal terms. He does so. It's good recovery, but he had to work a little bit harder for that than he would have liked. So that's where it can go a little bit wrong. Skoda go on the attack. Tom Sexton also mixing it up. Joe Fitzsimmons, Zach Williams for East Coast North Island. Williams goes in. They're still sitting there in 5th place on the leaderboard. 5th equal with 3 teams that have scored. Nick Kirkazoo down the back has a look. Now he's starting to put the pressure on. He's found some legs again. I don't know where he gets them from. He might have a spare set because, gosh, he has done some racing. Liam Regan swings up out of the way for the Auckland pair. Comes out of the chase. So down the back, Lawrence Pithy pouring the pressure on, makes his way. Kane Krupp comes in, just uses the banking, drifts onto the back. Nice work covering the move. Lawrence Pithy's applying the pressure.
Yeah, plenty of technical ability out there in the field. These under 19 and elite men have practiced this race plenty of times, know how to work within a confined space. It's so important. So on the front now, Skoda team, Tom Sexton. So he's riding away, Tom Sexton, and you can see the Copeland's team all of a sudden. Kane Group has plugged in Nick Kirkazoo. And I thought Nick Kirkazoo was looked in a world of pain in the previous races today, but he certainly has good form here at the Track Championships, so it's a matter of a mental game, and they've got a good lead, and all of a sudden, panic back further down the field.
So you see Nick Kirkazoo there. He knew Skoda were going to make the change and keep the momentum going, so he just moves up, stays on the wheel, stays on the slipstream. That's perfect riding using his experience. Now his partner will come and drop in, also at a high speed, but not quite the change they would have been looking for. But the Skoda rider had swung up. He was expecting that to be a smoother change and just drop on the wheel. It's so hard to judge your speed into the Madison. Lawrence Pithy also coming up as the Southland team, Rotherston and Willis.
You can see
there's a couple of warnings. So a couple of teams in 9-10. That'll just be because of their experience on the track, really.
I think it's actually flagging teams off the track once you've been lapped too many times. I think they've potentially been pulled off out of the race.
Oh, it's can be a little bit harsh. It's good experience for them to be in here. They're not causing a danger to the other riders, but that's the way it is. That's how the referees have called it. I think if you see someone making a real danger and getting in the way, and could possibly cause accidents, but it's good for the riders to be experienced. They're in the mix. The experienced riders know how to ride around them. But the race is on still, 44 laps to go. Tom Sexton, Ryan McLeod, George Jackson, Nick Kirkazoo On the back, big drop-in. You can see the speed of the drop-in from the Southland pairing. A little bit of a word. Tasman coming into the mix as well. The Coupland's Bakery. Go a little bit higher in their changes. They'll just probably try and tidy them up, make them a bit smoother. But they're in the bike race. They're sitting there in 4th place, 4th equal with Southland. Two teams really top of the leaderboard. Skoda on 22, Canterbury on 14. So Scott and Jones, they will have a plan at some stage, but at the moment it's Sexton and Pithy doing the damage on the front as they come into the bell. Lawrence Pithy is going to be a change. Both teams are changing into the bank, and there we go. Who's got the better? The ones on the higher, Canterbury, are on the inside. Tom Sexton. Sexton's got the advantage. So Tom Sexton's going to put another 5 points on. Oh, he's going to be challenged on the outside. It was close. We'll wait for the judges. The little wheelie across the line. The throw of the bike.
Interesting to see a couple of changes going on at once there, Dell, and you mentioned the importance of those changes. Able to fling each other into that final sprint. So it's great to see the depth in the field. These riders are all sticking together and able to keep up with the hot pace. Coupland's struggling a little bit off the back now after their efforts earlier to try and get away.
So Nick, he'll bring it back up. He'll look for his partner. He's looking up, goes, where are you? And he's the riders from the East Coast. Wanted to get out of the way, but you just got to be patient and have a look. If you make a change, stay down to the field's pass, you know it's clear. So Coupland's back in it. There's the confirmation. Canterbury got it on the line over Skoda, Southland and Waikato. So very good sprint right on the line. Scott and Jones, a very good change. You can see it's closing up, 26 versus 19, top two. That's the race for the gold. Waikato and Southland. Coupland's in the battle for the bronze at the moment. But we've still got 36 laps to go. Nobody's been able to take a lap. Ryan McLeod goes through for the MSM team. Skoda just closing up. That's Tom Sexton for Skoda, of course, riding out of Southland, but in this race riding with Canterbury's Lawrence Pithy. So that'll give the selectors a chance to look at another combination for future events.
And in this race, it's not always just how much you can make of an effort and how much damage you can do when you do attack. It's also how quickly you recover and can do it yet again. So recovery, the fitter you are, the faster you will recover and be able to repeat the effort that you have just put in. We see coming around the outside and the Tasman colours. We have Oliver Grave, usually an Aucklander, just making his way to the front. Probably keen to pick up some points in this next sprint. Only have 4 sprints remaining. Same as the women's, we have double points available on the last sprint. Lawrence Pithy in the Skoda colours making some progress on the outside. Jones also following very closely. And the Canterbury team, tell you what, they are on the hunt and they're keeping a very close eye on the #1 spot, Skoda.
They're going to make a change this time. Canterbury down the back. Southland, they're going to launch the attack around the outside. That just suits Canterbury nicely. Thanks very much. The experience, they just wait, slot in on third wheel, get the run into the bell. Lawrence Pithy, though, has the advantage. He's going to make a very good change, but around the outside, Canterbury will attack straight away at the change, and that gives them a couple of bike lengths, and that's going to be enough to take another 5 points. So changing a little bit too late. The experience of Canterbury pairing Jones and Scott just showing the score. Now they're going to apply the pressure as well. So this is a full gas attack at the moment, really putting the pressure on Tom Sexton. Tom Sexton, though, covers it, no problem at all. George Jackson as well. And then Southland trying to get into contention. Another change down the back after the sprint for Canterbury. Canterbury can take that. That's beautiful picture of the change at speed. Top of the leaderboard, Skoda on 29, Canterbury on 24. They're just getting that a little bit closer. Waikato on 10, Southland on 7. Coupland's on 4, so plenty of points on offer still. Double points on the last, just like in the points race.
Yeah, 3 sprints remaining and it's all still up in the air, very close at the top of the leaderboard, Skoda and the Canterbury team. Right hot on each other's wheels. You'll notice these two teams will be tracking each other over the next 3 sprints, making sure they are very close. regardless of where they are sitting on the points. They know the quality of the other team. You saw the riders come through after that last sprint and attack. They had the momentum. They might as well continue that momentum. And they did exactly that. And also these constant attacks with, you know, outside those sprint laps, it's all about that mental game as well too. You know, just keep attacking, pretending to the other riders out there that really you've got plenty of gas in the legs, and means that the other riders think, oh no, I'm not going to keep up for this one, and it's just one too many. So you're just looking to crack your competitors.
24 to go. Here we go. You can hear from the crowd. You can hear from the infield. The chair. It's Nick Kirkazoo on the charge for Coupland's Bakery. He's not out of this. So we haven't been sprinting quite as we would like. So we're going to try and go on the attack. We're going to see if we can hurt them. Canterbury responding straight away. Very patient. Tom Sexton just following the Tasman. So this is a full gas attack down the back. They've got around 25, 30 metres on them at the moment. So who's going to chase? You can see Kate Crook with his head down, absolutely flying. Gosh, he looks like Regan Goff on his bike. Similar style.
And Coupland's obviously had a clear strategy to just keep attacking time and time again and try and get a lap on the field. They've done it at a smart time, so they're going to be able to collect the points as well too. So taking a lap on the field's been their tactic. They haven't been there for the other sprints. Tell you what, if they get these points, it puts them into 4th spot, so not far, just 1 point off the podium. So Coupland's, Nick Kirkazoo off the front.
Okay, Lark taking over Tasman the second, so the pressure's on the Canterbury boys now. And Skoda, Canterbury might be cracking a little bit. Skoda again a little bit closer. Coupland's, Nick Kirkazoo keeps the pressure on. Ryan McLeod gets onto the wheel of Nick Kirkazoo. George Jackson's trying to bring Waikato into it. Tasman, they got some points. They're in the chase now. So down the back, Ryan McLeod, Nick Kirkazoo, George Jackson, Lawrence Pithy. Canterbury paces these off, so it comes back for them. So that attack has been neutralised. It would have used a lot of energy. The Canterbury combination, they had to bite the handlebars for a bit to get back into it. Josh Scott is in there now. He moves up onto 4th wheel. Who's going to launch the next one? George Jackson, Zach Patterson. They are riding very, very well, sitting there. 3rd place, protecting that. Coupland's attacking them, and they're going to keep attacking them. Southland in the mix. I saw when they were going through, Big Jacob Willis having a long, hard look at the leaderboard, thinking about where he's sitting, thinking about the strategy. He's in the chase right now, just sitting there in the bunch. He's the 3rd rider back as they go down the back straight. So a little bit of a lull. There's 15 on the board.
Just 2 sprints remaining now, and double points there for the last sprint. So now an attack coming around the outside and coming pretty hot too. The East Coast North Island colours. There looks like Mitchell Fitzsimmons out there, and Max Williams about to get flung into it now. So Max Williams on the attack and looks straight on their wheel, or trying to bridge that gap at least as the Skoda team. Tell you what, Nick Kirkazoo, Coupland's on 3rd wheel there. He's in some great form and just showing that form throughout this championships.
Well, he knows how to hurt himself, Nick Kirkazoo. He was in good form on the road last week down the New Zealand Cycle Classic. Follows his New Zealand teammate Tom Sexton. There's the change. Now, that wasn't quite quick enough, wasn't as quick as he'd like, so Crip has a fair bit of work to do to get on equal terms. Here's another change, East Coast North Island. If they can execute it, they've got the other teams under a bit of pressure. But Tom Sexton, using his experience, he just floats onto the wheel. He'll try and kick and come over the top. The East Coast North Island pairing, but they're doing a good job here. They're going to take the points. Come through, yeah, excellent riding. That is a good result for East Coast North Island. Mitchell Fitzsimmons. Now Skoda go well. We've been attacked. Now we're going to attack ourselves. They're going to ask the question of Canterbury. They're going to ask the question of Coupland's, Waikato. Waikato are doing a pretty good job. There's the results. East Coast North Island, Skoda, Coupland's, Canterbury keeping their board ticking over. There's 1 more sprint left in this 25 kilometre Madison. 33 for Skoda, 25, 12 and 11. So both teams, all the medals are at stake in this last sprint. This is going to be hot. Who's going to be brave enough to attack? Because you get it wrong, it's going to cost you. It could cost you a medal totally, or it might cost you the gold. So the teams will come around, the riders floating around, have a look. They'll be looking at the board, looking at the points.
So Lawrence Pithy, now he goes on the attack. He sees they're about to make a change and he accelerates right at the right time. So Hugo Jones is going to have to chase him down now, but he doesn't want to do the work. So you can see Coupland's Bakery coming underneath. And so on the charge, the Skoda team, they're going to put the hammer down, 6 laps to go. If it doesn't hold off, it's going to be very hard to recover in the next 6 laps. So Skoda, they're gone on the charge. They've almost got a straight on their riders behind them.
Well, Tom Sexton, Ryan McLeod's chasing. Kane Croup, I know Canterbury just had a little sneaky look up at the scoreboard to see where they are. You're just going to have to time the effort. 4 laps to go, 1,000 metres left in this 25-kilometre race. Tom Sexton, he goes, there's Lawrence Pithy. Pithy does the big flick, comes down the track at speed, has a look over his shoulder. Yeah, nice change, so keeps the momentum.
So charged right at the right time, Skoda. I don't think the Canterbury team's going to be able to pull this back. And he's out of the seat again, Lawrence Pithy. There's 3 laps remaining in this whole competition for these boys. So they're going to be giving it absolutely everything. Skoda leads and MSM's trying to catch up. Copeland's Bakery too, but you can see the leg speed of the riders out there. They're tired.
So Nick Kersegow's put his head down for a really big effort. He's going to have to get on the wheel of George Jackson as he comes past him. So no, George Jackson's going to settle in. Kersegow's absolutely flying. Trying to get into the points. There's 1 to go. Here's the leaders of the race. The leaders on the scoreboard. Tom Sexton. There's some points in the way too. Tasman getting some points. George Jackson coming up for Waikato. That's going to keep them in the hunt. Nick goes back. So his teammate, they just didn't get that quite right. Good attempt. They come around. There we go. The Madison champions. Tom Sexton. Lawrence Pithy for the team Skoda. Very good riding, very good final, Madison. What a way to finish the Vantage Windows and Doors National Track Cycling Championships. Here at Cycling New Zealand's home base, of course, preparing for the World Champs. Nothing better than having the championships at your home velodrome when you can just walk into service course. It's been a fantastic competition over 4 days. The best of the best. Not best of the best in New Zealand, but these riders are also some of the top ranked in the world. Lawrence Pithy, another gold medal from these championships. There's still some presentations to go, so do stay in the stands, show your appreciation to the riders. All the riders as they come around, give them a big round of applause on their warm down laps, because over the last 4 days, some of them have just turned themselves inside out, day in, day out, and almost ridden every endurance event. To the young riders, well, they've done themselves proud, stepping up into the big time from under 17 into under 19 into the elite category. We're going to go down to the presentations shortly.
Well, Tim Carswell joins me, the high performance hub coach here, but also the manager and coach of the Waikato Bar Plenty team. I know you've done a lot of work, Tim, on the Madison. You must have been absolutely stoked with the skill that was shown out there.
Oh yeah, it's really impressive to see the progress of the riders who have come through the junior ranks and through the National Track Series over the last couple of years, and just going out there and now being able to foot it with the top elite riders, so it's fantastic.
Zach Patterson, he's a bit of a surprise package to me at these championships.
Yeah, he's obviously he's come across and joined in with the Waikato team, and he had a great ride there with an old rider there with George Jackson, and they took out a medal. So it's really great to see a junior actually stepping up and winning a medal in the senior event like that. So yeah, and he had some great rides right throughout the championship.
The highlight for you from a Waikato perspective, any standout performances?
Oh, I think it was pretty cool to see how Jessie Hodges has gone across the championships. I think she's up to 5 gold medals now, which is pretty amazing. So, and that just shows her talent in the bunch races and just how good she is tactically and technically.
So important. What will you be working on? I know with your young riders, what's the key message you'll be giving to other riders looking into this? What do they have to work on to try and get themselves to this level?
Oh, well, it's a bit of a process, isn't it? And, and we work with them pretty hard right across the year within the hubs and also within the national program and through the National Track Series. So lots of opportunity for them to keep on improving right across the board, whether it is their tactics, their technique, or just coming in and racing hard.
And what's planned for yourself? You're going to get back on the bike at some stage?
No, not any plans to do that. No, next thing for me will just be working towards Junior Worlds for coaching. And that's in August. We've got a great group of riders. It's going to be extremely tough. The national selectors are going to have a really tough job choosing that team, but I know the riders that are selected will be a great team to take away again this year.
That's been really exciting for me, talking to the riders as I've walked around the infield, especially those young ones. What are you aiming for? How's it going? I really want to make the Junior Worlds team. They know it's coming up.
Yeah, and that team's named on the 7th of February, which isn't too far away at all. The selectors will be getting together early this next week, and selections pretty much straight after that. So it is right around the corner. This is their last chance to show what they had, but I mean, there's also been a lot of camps and also the Oceania Championships, which the selectors have looked at as well. So, a lot of hard work done by the young riders, and yeah, there'll be a very, very strong group going through to Egypt and Cairo.
Well, all the very best for that. You got a great track record with the juniors bringing home rainbow jerseys and medals. So Tim Carswell, all the very best. We're going to take a look back at some of the highlights from the racing over the last couple of days. Welcome to the Day 1 highlights from the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite Under-19 and Para National Track Cycling Championships. Canterbury's Jenna Borthwick was the star of the Under-19 women's, winning both the 500-metre time trial and the scratch race. In the Under-19 men's, double world champion Lawrence Pithy won the kilometre time trial, from Southland's Mitchell Fitzsimmons and Waikato's Zach Patterson taking the bronze. Fitzsimmons got the better of Pithy in the Under-19 men's scratch race, winning in a photo finish, with once again Zach Patterson taking the bronze medal.
Man from Southland round the outside. Pithy's got some work to do. On the inside, Pithy, can he hang on? Is he going to get there? They go to the line. Photo finish.
Tasman's Sian Fulton has stepped up from the Under-19s to win the elite women's 500-metre time trial.
Got out of the blocks quickly, so this is going to be a great battle. Fulton, like with the best starts, get a great start. Sian Fulton comes down. There we go. 35.132.
In the men's 1,000-metre time trial, it was Southland's Nick Kurzagu who showed he's in great form, winning in a time of 1 minute, 0.940 seconds, ahead of sprinter Zach Williams of Auckland and Campbell Stewart, the Omnium World Champion. Southland's Kirsty James was the star of the opening night of these national championships and winning the women's 3,000-metre individual pursuit in a new New Zealand record time of 3 minutes 26.070.
Fantastic time as well. You must be absolutely wrapped.
Yeah, I saw the time on the board and I thought that's definitely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was a PB anyway, so I really want to celebrate it because yeah, I've been working on the IP for a few years now, so it was a really cool achievement for me. And it's really cool to come here and represent Cycling Southland because they've supported me so much over the years, and being in the pit with them, I was just saying before, is like a hotel. They're offering me cold drinks and sorting out my bike for me and giving me heaps of encouragement. So even with a huge event like the World Champs coming up, it brings me so much pleasure to do track nationals for Cycling Southland. It's really cool.
Well, congratulations on a great ride tonight and all the best for the rest of the championship.
Thanks so much.
Join us tomorrow for more action from the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite Under-19 and Para National Track Cycling Championships. So ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2020 Vantage Elite and Under-19 National Track Championships Women's Madison will now take place. Bruce Goldsworthy, a life member, Cycling New Zealand Road and Track, will present the medals. In third place, and winners of the bronze medal, riding in the Vantage green colours, Raquel Sheath and Nicole Shields. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bar Plenty, Ronnie Botha, Rushley Buchanan. In first place, the winners of the gold medal and the 2020 Elite Women's Madison National Champions, riding in Subway Blue, it's Ellie Williston, Jessie Hodges. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the podium after a very tough, hard-fought Madison. Big round of applause for your medal winners and champions. So our next medal presentation is for the Elite Men's Madison. Once again, Bruce will kindly do the honours of presenting the medals. So ladies and gentlemen, the medal presentation for the Elite Under-19 Men's Madison at the Vantage Windows and Doors National Track Championships. In third place, winners of the bronze medal, representing Waikato Bar Plenty, George Jackson and Zach Patterson. In second place, and winners of the silver medal, representing Canterbury, Hugo Jones, Joshua Scott. In first place, and the winners of the gold medal, your 2020 Men's Madison National Champions, riding in the colours of Team Skoda, Lawrence Pithy, Thomas Sexton. So ladies and gentlemen, there's a couple of special presentations. The Under-19 Men's Points Cup. The Levin Jubilee Cup goes to Lawrence Pithy. Yeah, it's a shot Bruce will treasure, I'm sure. Patron of Cycling New Zealand, Bike, Road and Track. Lawrence Pithy, well-deserved trophy after a fantastic week of racing. The Elite Men's Points Trophy, it's the New Zealand ACA Warren Johnson Cup. We have in first equal, Sam Webster, Eddie Dawkins, Nick Kurzigu, Jordan Kirby, Campbell Stewart. So Campbell will come up to get the trophy. Not very often you get a tie like that. Just shows how tough and tight the competition's been throughout these national championships. Our Elite Women's Points Trophy, we also have sharing it in first equal place, Olivia Podmore, Kirsty James, Sian Fulton, Jessie Hodges. They will receive the Horowhenua Counties Central Challenge Cup. Well, that concludes our coverage here at the Vantage Windows and Doors Elite and Under-19 National Track Cycling Championships. Paige Patterson, it's been an outstanding 4 days of racing.
Oh, everyone's brought some great form here to the Vantage Road, and I tell you what, some of those young riders coming through, it's exciting to be watching them at this age and stage in their career.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic championships. Don't forget you'll be able to catch all the highlights on Sky Sport Next of today's racing, plus highlights of the whole 4 days. On behalf of Vantage Windows and Doors, Del Woodford, Paige Patterson, good afternoon.